And we're live for another Wrestle Pure Sunday special. I'm your host, Backup Hangman, here with Monty, the First Lady Isra, and Joe Holbert. And we're here to hang out with you guys and talk some Money in the Bank. The show happened yesterday in London in the afternoon. Two of the members here on the podcast were at the event, and the other two watched it live too. So it's going to be a fun one. So make sure to just like the video, comment, subscribe if you haven't, leave some super chats, leave some live comments in the live chat. We're going to be engaging with you guys and having some fun. And yeah, man, we're going to talk some Money in the Bank and whatever else comes up for sure. My man Laz says, Ibu Cam, where art thou? Oh boy, Ibu, get on camera, you son of a bitch. Yeah, so the thing about that, damn your hair, Ibu, turn on your camera. Damn, your hair is looking awesome, Isra. I told him. Yeah, I told him. Yeah, so, Money in the Bank 2023 is in the books, and Roman Reigns has been pinned for the first time in 3 years. So very, very eventful show for sure. We're going to definitely get into all that. But before we do that, some formalities. I was promised Ibu Cam. Yeah, listen.
Who promised you that?
I don't know who promised
you.
I don't know.
Doing it on Monday. I was there.
He's lying on my name. Card is subject to change, and I had some things come up. Ibu's such a carny.
No, because Ibu with his camera on, I think that might have been one of the only Wrestle Pures podcasts where like everyone had their camera on, and that's what he took from you.
I get so proud when those moments happen. When everyone decides to turn the camera on like an actual podcast.
All grown up. It's crazy.
Monty gets so resentful when he has to just talk to a bunch of fucking Abbies.
Bullshit, bro. These are live streams on YouTube. We're doing a radio show, fine, but that's not what we're doing. We're doing podcasts. You got to be on the camera, brother. You know what I mean? You will be getting fined for this podcast. It's what it is, brother. It's what it is.
Pay will go to me.
No, definitely not. It's a tough one today, guys, because what you guys missed yesterday from being at the show was that Twitter. It just went to shit. Elon Musk put like a rate limit on everybody's accounts, and so if you scrolled your timeline for about like 10 minutes, you would have exceeded your limit, and you just couldn't load any new tweets for the rest of the day.
You couldn't load the tweets like at all.
Yeah, and
at any point in time
when you tweet. So and then also like after like a number of tweets, like that's just your amount of tweets for the day. So basically, like you just couldn't use Twitter. And so that was what was going on with Money in the Bank. And that happens. It's social media. You can just, close your phone and live a life. But it's going to affect...
I was trying to like kind of sort of live tweet through it. I couldn't see any tweets on my timeline, but I'm like, fuck it, I'm just going to live tweet. Like the interactions were so like dangerously low. And I'm just like, fuck it. It's basically just me talking to myself. Like that's what mostly everyone was doing while the show was on.
Everybody was talking to themselves, and then it worked a little bit this morning, and so I was catching up with everybody's takes, and yeah, man, it was just an absolute mess on Twitter. Even today, I don't know if everybody's even been able to see this. I'm thankful we have at least 118 people here filing in. If you're joining us, we're reviewing the Wrestle Purists. We're reviewing Money in the Bank, 2023. But yeah, man, Twitter's broken. Kind of sucks. It's going to affect our shit for a little bit until Elon decides to get the app in order. But nonetheless, Joe Holbert, how are you doing today?
I think you know the answer to that, Chief. I'm victorious, triumphant, jubilant, the usual these days.
Jubilant.
Last night was crazy, man. Getting the conclusion I was looking for, and then having Roddy and Joe like waiting for me when I got around to it. Was like, I never knew things would get this good, to be honest with you, So I'm riding high, brother, riding high.
It was a real day, Joe. I was telling my friend about that. I'm like, yo, the Bloodline Civil War ended with Jey Uso coming out on top, and then we capped the night off with Samoa Joe hospitalizing Roddy. Like, this is fucking crazy, man.
Special times, brother.
Absolutely. Monty, how are you doing today?
Pretty much the same as Joe, to be honest. Pretty triumphant. It's a day for winners, I was seriously considering declaring July 1st Jey Uso Day. I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you, Ibu?
Yo, I can't really complain too much. You know what I mean? Like, I just can't complain. And look, I'm not the bloodline guy that you guys are, and that Joe's become apparently in recent months. I'm not, but I respect the game. You know what I mean? Our game is game, and I respect the game. You know, Roman Reigns is a superstar. That's just the bottom line. And we'll get into it later for sure. Look, it's not for everybody. There's going to be aspects of it that are going to be off-putting for some people, but they did the fucking dance. And those guys in London were super into that. So I was just happy for you guys half the time. Like, I'm watching that match, and like as they're taking so long to get to Jey Uso's hot tag, I'm like, man, Monty's probably just fucking acting like a little kid in there. You know what I mean? So,
cute.
Yeah, Isra,
locked in, man. We was locked in.
The first lady, Isra. You're back here for another Sunday. What's going on?
Well, yeah, Sunday is my day. I'm like contractually obligated to be here. But also it was, it's a good day. I gave my cats a bath today, and it feels like I got hit by a car. Like, if you know, that shit is an extreme sport. So, they made my day pretty long. But, it's been good vibes. It's always good vibes over here. So, yeah.
Yeah, it is good vibes. I thought aspects of Money in the Bank were very Isra-pilled in terms of the booking decisions. Like, a number of the things.
Honestly, like, it's very, like, few pay-per-views where I feel like from beginning to end, like, majority of it is like, Rollins approved.
Yeah,
we're gonna get into what was and what wasn't Rollins approved in the show. I did watch all of it. Unfortunately, there were some parts I would have rather not been there for, but we're gonna get into that.
We definitely will. Again, guys, make sure to like the video, comment, super chat, and all those things. But yeah, Money in the Bank last night was in London, O2 Arena, full house. There was no big stage. They did the Backlash setup where we got a nice small entranceway. The priority was packing all the fans in, not having a big stage. I prefer this look for the show rather than the big stage. It just looks more like a wrestling show and not this off-putting LED extravaganza. But yeah, man, the show started and we went right to the men's Money in the Bank. And this match was a Money in the Bank ladder match. The Triple H regime has now altered the stipulation for this because now the Money in the Bank winner can cash in on any belt, not just the world title. And so the competitors were Damian Priest, the former Pete Dunne Butch, Santos Escobar, Ricochet, Logan Paul. Who am I forgetting?
Damian Priest.
Ricochet. Did you say Ricochet?
Shinsuke
Nakamura.
LA Knight.
And LA Knight. There we go. Yeah, LA Knight, who was the most over man in this match.
I would like to apologize to the Wrestle Purist Galaxy. It was a couple weeks ago when this man got on here and lied and said that LA Knight was going to win with complete certainty.
I didn't lie.
I think you should give an apology video with tears.
Okay. What I will say is I didn't lie, but I'm not at liberty to reveal why that is no longer the.
I think you've revealed enough. I think you've done.
Yeah. Yeah. LA Knight was the most over guy in this match. London was going crazy for this guy. This guy would come in and do like a DDT, and the place is going nuts.
Bro, they were booing anybody that was against LA Knight at any point in that match.
Even when they put Butch,
the only Brit was getting booed.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And the thing is, Pete Dunne was getting cheered the whole match. Y'all were into him. Like, they were chanting bruiserweight for him and stuff. He's doing moonsaults off ladders and stuff like that, kicking ass. I thought he had a great showing for himself, actually, in the match. All kinds of crazy stuff, man. Ricochet was doing his thing. Santos Escobar, Phantom Drivers. I thought everybody actually looked pretty good except Shinsuke Nakamura, quite frankly, who just should probably be a family man at this point, But
man.
knowing you, sickos,
Shinsuke hate is so tacky to me.
Tell him, Israel. Tell him.
It's not tacky.
Tell him.
Okay, can you say that Shinsuke made the match worse?
He didn't make it better.
It would have been so much fun.
It depends where you were sitting, either. If you sat where me and Holbert were sitting, probably the highlight of the match. Just like having such a doing his thing.
Yeah. Like, Shin genuinely looked like he just woken up. And he was like, he was setting stuff up, and he's like, oh, fucking ladder match. He looked so frustrated that he was doing this match. It was glorious. Everything he did, we were like popping and pumping our fists, and everyone thought we were such freaks. It was amazing.
You know what makes it funny, Joe? See, so here's the thing. His last ladder match was at a Madison Square Garden house show at the beginning of the year, right? And he hurt himself in that match. And then he went to Japan to fight Great Muta, injured, like with a bad ankle. Like nobody knows. I guess people didn't. This wasn't publicized, but he was like fucked in that match and did it anyway, and then kind of sat out a couple months. So he's probably in this match like, oh god, I gotta fucking do this thing again, man. But yeah, Shinsuke was in the match existing. Pete Dunne, Butch.
I thought Shinsuke had a really good showing. I thought all of the men, maybe not equally, but like all the men like contributed something to the match.
For sure.
I don't know if recency bias is like beating my ass, but this is my favorite men's Money in the Bank in quite a while.
Ricochet was very, very athletic and dynamic in this match, all over the place. So he was doing a lot of cool stuff. Logan Paul, massive heat. Tons of anti-Logan chants. I think you guys chanted "Fuck you, Logan" at some point. I might have missed that. You did, right? "Fuck you, Logan" chants. He's just trolling, and if he wasn't trolling, he was just kind of ruining the fun for other people. You know, guys would set up a move and he'd ruin it. He did like a frog splash.
He was working.
Right.
He was working.
He's incredible, man. Genuinely. I know he gets beaten to death every single time he wrestles at this point, and he's wrestled like a good handful of times now. You know, we've got a good look at him. We know what he can do, but it's still somehow quite strikingly impressive just how good he is, how new he is. You know, he's like, yeah, he's an athlete, like, you know, but like Jesus, you know, like,
we're beyond that. We're beyond the athlete shit. He's a wrestler. He's a real wrestler.
He's the real.
Give him his things.
He is
the real. He's
a real wrestler. Yeah.
And if anyone else did that spot with Ricochet, like both of them would have died. Logan Paul's a real wrestler, so they made it work. That shit was scary when I seen it. Like I literally, because I was watching it live, but like I literally like rewinded, even though like it was like still going on, because I couldn't believe what the hell I just saw.
It was something else. Logan Paul did a frog splash off the apron in this match. Butch did a moonsault off a ladder on the outside. There was some tables set up on the outside, and as Isra just brought up, you know, Ricochet and Logan Paul were getting pushed off the ladder, and they tried to like land in the middle ropes to set up a Spanish fly. Logan Paul, I think he put his foot in the wrong spot, like one of his feet got caught in the wrong spot, and then it threw Ricochet off balance, and then Ricochet was like, whoa. And Logan Paul looked like he wanted to take his time to get balance, and Ricochet's like, no, we're doing this fucking spot. So one guy's like, wait. Ricochet's like, no, and then he pulls him, and they do it. Like it's like we're jumping off the plane, and so they did it. And Ricochet did the full rotation spin. Logan Paul just fell forward and it landed on his head. And so it wasn't a complete botch, but it wasn't executed perfectly at all. Still a crazy spot.
That was some real shit, honestly.
To a degree.
Everything don't have to be picture perfect. Like this is like real authentic wrestling if I ever seen it. And I need, bro. Okay, so I was watching it with my sister, who's like, you know, a casual. She don't really pay attention to wrestling, and even she was agreeing with me. She was like, "I need to see Ricochet versus Logan 1-on-1. I don't give a fuck where it is. Like, I will be there no matter what."
They have something there. I mean, if you guys remember at the Royal Rumble, they had that spot where they were on the opposite ends on the aprons, and they did a springboard like double clothesline to each other. And then here we got this crazy fucking Spanish fly. We need to settle the score. Maybe they need to just have a flippy match at a SummerSlam or something. I'd be down for it. But this was back and forth, and guys were doing stuff. Look, and that was the favorite from the audience. They wanted him to win so badly, and it appeared like he was going to, and he was thrown off the ladder by Damian Priest. And Damian Priest wins the Money in the Bank. He was the third betting favorite yesterday by Vegas. You know, the odds were for LA Knight and Logan Paul, but he was the third guy. No one else had any odds to speak of. So Priest wins the Money in the Bank. Monty, what are your thoughts on this match? What are your thoughts on the result? What do you think about all this?
I mean, I've never been a massive like multi-man ladder match guy, to be honest. But as far as Money in the Bank matches go, I thought this he got off to a really good start, man. Definitely, the set of pace, definitely set a pace early on, which was good, and then you know we developed more into. You know, there was a little bit of a down moment when they were setting up tables and fucking ladders and shit. That's the stuff I hate, man. But other than that, you know, you get to the highest spots and pretty much all the stuff you mentioned, you know, like all the highlights. Ricochet is just, you know, he can do this stuff in his sleep, you know. All these, like any sort of spot he can just do in his sleep. It's funny how easy it is, you know. Logan Paul, like I was saying earlier, he was just, you know, Logan Paul, man, it's just surprisingly good, even though we know what he can do. Right. Who else? I mean, yeah, Damian Priest winning, man. It's the people wanted LA Knight. They were like so ready, bro. And then Damian Priest won, and like you could tell that like people didn't want to like boo Damian Priest winning too much, because like people do tend to like Damian Priest. Like when he came out, I said to Joe, look, he's a weird fuck, but he's good at it, that Damian Priest.
It's just changed for 1 second. She's like, oh, okay.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
But those were the conversations we were having throughout the night.
You're like, Monty's like, this is a freaky frog right here. But
yeah, he's a bit of a weird dude.
Oh my god, I'm slow as hell. I thought you meant like his aesthetic, like the way he.
No.
All of it.
Never mind.
All of it. All of it.
Him,
He has like a Uzi, like bisexual vampire like energy, like with his way he look and everything. Happy Pride Month, by the way.
Joe's face. He was like, all right, okay.
It's a new one.
Speaking of Uzi, oh my god, when Shinsuke music like started, like I popped. So, and I never like, I don't know, like whenever like Shinsuke music comes out, whatever, like I never pop like that because I love him, but it's just Shinsuke. Mm-hmm. But I listened to Uzi's song that he made about him. Feel like I'm for sure everyone knows about it by now. So like I don't know, I'm like, look at you, like I was so happy for him. And
did you hear that, Monty? That song?
Yeah, bro. No comment.
That shit is gonna hit because when we go to Philly, when Wrestle Pierce does our first family vacation at Philly Mania, that shit is gonna hit live. Come on,
Monty. My brother runs down to my room. He's like, boom, 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 boom. I'm like, what is it, man? He's like, listen. I'm like, okay. I see Uzi Bird on the phone. I'm like, ah. And then all I hear is dun 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 dun. I'm like, what? I was like, is this the Nakamura theme? And he starts like singing on it. I was like, all right, bro.
I think I don't quote me on this, but I think he sampled the actual WWE crowd singing like with his theme song.
Yes.
So like, think about that. Could be any of us.
Like, I do think he should perform it at
Scary
a
Fall.
It could be worse, Joe, what did you think of the Money in the Bank ladder match?
I actually was really good, and it's not really my thing either, and I wasn't especially excited for the lineup, but I thought it was really well produced. The LA Knight situation, I'm going to call it a situation, is fascinating. I think I'm fully on board at this point, just because there is a charm to like how sincerely this act is working, like to an almost frightening degree. Like when you're walking into the building, people are doing his like shtick. It's insane. So it felt like there was a moment to be had with him winning here. That's not what they went for. I think the big thing with that is, in fear of going full, let it play out. Just see what they do at SummerSlam. Maybe they have a moment for him there. If not, it's like, man, I mean, he was so over. Like, give him something, right? Throw him a bone. But nonetheless,
let him beat Austin Theory.
That's my thing. Yeah, absolutely. The overall match was really good. It was a great way to start the show. I think in terms of crowd, it helped a lot, but also there was a fair amount of insanity, as you kind of mapped out earlier. I mean, the Ricochet spot, the Ricochet Logan spot up close was every bit as terrifying as the description. I mean, it was, because you could see it falling apart, but it looked, from our angle, it looked worse for Ricochet because he was in front of us. Like, so Ricochet just looked like a header on the table. I didn't even see where Logan landed. It was bonkers. And you could tell there was a lot of concern about it at ringside, but a really good opener for sure.
I've only seen one ladder match live, and it was a GCW show, but like
it don't count. That shit don't count.
Right. Really bad match, but like I couldn't enjoy any part of it because I just thought like someone was gonna die at every point, like anywhere.
That match fucking ruled. I know what one you're talking about.
No, it did.
With the AJ Gray ladder spot when he fucking just falls off, and the commentators like.
That's the ladder match you're talking about.
Yes, I saw that live, and I was
My
like,
condolences.
I was like, what? People are just falling. in the wrong locations and slipping off ladders and falling and just botching. And I'm like, yo, I remember I literally kept saying, yo, end this match, please end this match. But so I don't know how this one must have been like live, but yeah, man, look,
I would have been dying.
I thought this happened in front of me. Yeah, I thought this was very good. I want to start with Isra on this topic. The choice of who won this match is interesting to me because it's like, if it went with Logan, it would make business sense. He can walk around with the briefcase on his podcast and his public appearances. He can fucking put a Prime bottle under some
None of us are the suits in the back. That shit don't concern you. I don't care who the fuck you in bed with, who you're talking to. That shit don't concern you. Listen.
Wait. Let me say, I'm gonna give you a proper question. Let me set the stage. I got you. Ready? So if it went with him, it would make business sense, but he's not a full timer. And Logan Paul, the Money in the Bank briefcase, this positive negatives. If it went to LA Knight, it would be the sentimental favorite, and I was okay with him winning it because he's over. But to be completely frank with you, I personally don't see him as a world title holder. Just personally, just that's just me. You know, do I see him beating Seth Rollins imminently? That's kind of a weird thing to picture. You know. But he is over, and so it's like, look, over is over. You give the guy something and figure it out. Damian Priest is a guy that
5-minute question, man. Fuck it.
Let me answer it. Damian Priest.
Jesus. This is a graduation speech.
Your questions be long too, Botsy. But the point is this: Damian Priest was not a sexy choice going in. He wasn't someone that everybody's predicting. But if you watch the TV, he was the most pushed wrestler in that match. And they're clearly very high on him following the Puerto Rico match with Bad Bunny. And so they followed up with this. Isra, what do you make of the Damian Priest choice? What do you think happens for him going forward?
I just had a technical difficulty, so I'm gonna, the show goes on, but I'm gonna fix it after this. I think there's a lot of different perspectives that can be had as a fan, because remember that you're a fan at the end of the day. So it's who you want to win. Me personally, if you was to ask me, I would say put it on Santos or put it on Logan Paul. Because I would love a Santos Seth match or even a Santos Roman match. I would love Logan Paul Seth part 2 and part 3. Personally, or even him versus Logan again, that would eat. But everyone in that match, by the way, was old. So cut the shit with Logan, with LA Knight being old, or Damian Priest being old. Everyone in that match was old as shit. So this wasn't a newcomer, this is about the young. No, everyone is old. So that's fine that Damian Priest got it and not LA Knight. To me, it's at any point now, it's any of these guys minus Shinsuke's time to step up, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I thought, even midway through the matches I was watching, I'm thinking I'm watching, looking at Damian Priest for a second. I'm I could see him winning this. And if he did win, I wouldn't be mad. So when it happened, I was it was a pleasant surprise.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see how you could be mad at any of the outcomes unless you're really emotionally invested in LA Knight's success, which if you are, it's coming. I think there's a lot of good things that's going to be coming with LA Knight. Starting with, how you guys were saying he could go after Austin Theory and get the United States Championship. He would make the U.S. title so much more important if he had it. Because obviously he is so over and he's giving superstar qualities. So I like the outcome. I thought the match was really good. Like I said, it was one of my favorite in a very long time. Multi-man ladder matches. It was just a whole lot of meat. And to start, it just gave me this rush. That was the perfect match. Oh, you do. That was the perfect match to start it. It was just such a consistent, from beginning to end, the energy was there, the vibes was there, the meat was there, just everything that you could ask for. So, this match was Rollins approved. I'm going to fix my light.
Good to hear. Yeah, everybody in that match was 40 except Pete Dunne and Logan Paul. So that was that. I didn't care who won because I've been consistent. I don't really care who wins these Money in the Bank briefcases. I did care for the women result. I wanted specifically Io to win that. Otherwise, it's whatever. But for the men one, it was I don't really give a shit. But Priest is the one who won. So the second match. Jeez. Yeah, man. Actually, before we get to the second match, let's go to some super chats. Let's go to some super chats.
Reading my mind, brother. Reading my mind.
Zayd Natty, $4.99. Very excited to hear the Money in the Bank experience from Monty and Joe. The Civil War tag effing ruled. Ibu, hopefully WrestleMania 40, the story maybe finishes. It will. I'm not worried about that. I'm more annoyed that I have to wait that long, and I'm curious what in the world they do to pad out time the rest of this year. I'd imagine Roman just sits out most of it. What the hell is Cody going to do to make like September to December feel like it has any meaning? You know, I wonder if you guys have any take on that.
That's gonna be changing.
You know what I mean? Like, what the hell is he gonna do for the rest of the year?
Because I don't know, because it was very clear with the match we'll get to the match itself, but it was clear with the match yesterday. They want to still present Cody at a certain level, right? Like, he won in a fashion of like, now, he ain't going to be messing around with a Dom Mysterio. Like, he's going to beat that guy flat, which is good. But there's only a few guys then that you can do like a real program with, because there's not many alternatives to Brock Lesnar. Once you're done with that, it's kind of like, it's going to be tough. I don't know. I haven't got necessarily a solution personally.
The WWF Trios Championship with his KO and Sammy. I don't fucking know. Thanks for the super chat. Darren Walker, 5 big ones. He said being at the O2 for SmackDown and Money in the Bank was great. The atmosphere was fantastic. And can't wait for All In at Wembley Stadium. I'd be there too. Yeah, man, good to hear, Darren. Yeah, you know, you were in the presence of Monty and Joe. Master 84, 199.
Every wrestling fan's dream.
I ascended when Joe dropped Roddy on his head, man. Oh man.
Real shit.
Go ahead, just take this one.
I'm not wearing my glasses.
Oh, okay.
Wait, hang on. Did you see that interviewer ask about Bad Bunny?
You watched the scrum, didn't you? So
yeah, I unfortunately saw it. So a guy came out.
Don't do that. Don't.
These things fucking.
Live tweeting it like you had any real reason to, you know.
I was trying to recoup my losses on engagement. You feel me? But yeah, I watched that shitty ass scrum. The guy there's people coming up like, "Hey, Damian Priest, like, who's your favorite soccer player?" Like, just questions like that. You know what I mean? And one of them was just kind of like,
what was his answer to his favorite soccer player?
I don't fucking know. Hunter was asked about football, and he said all those soccer teams blend in my mind, like Man U and fucking Arsenal and all that shit.
Those are completely different teams. I'm not even a soccer fan, and I could like.
Well, yeah, I named 2 different ones, but Bad Bunny was asked. So he asked Priest, like, "Hey, man, could you maybe team up with Bad Bunny?" And then Priest gave him a look like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And then like the guy like panicked and was like, I thought your match of the year." And Priest is just kind of like, "Okay." So the man who beat Chris Patton twice strikes back with $2. Yo, Hangman, speak some Chinese real quick.
Oh my god.
Ni hao wo de pengyo.
What did that mean?
Hello, my friend.
Beautiful.
Still unknown. 2 euros. Spotting Monty and Joe in the crowd. Pop of the night. I didn't see it live. I saw it on Twitter when someone posted the screenshot.
Yeah, it's very scary, you know.
It was the perfect shot, dude. Just standing there.
I literally had this. Hold on, because I had this on my screen, just like waiting. Because I told Monty to like pull the picture up, and he was like, "No." So this is them too. From my cracked screen.
Monty, put Israel's screen only on the screen for a second. Do it again, Israel.
He's not gonna do it.
Give Israel the
He's
solo.
scared.
I'll do it.
There we go.
Look at my face.
This is ghetto. All right. Oh shit.
that was my face when 16-time world champion John Cena arrived at Money in the Bank. Cool, man.
That's the most, bro, in an arena full of Brits. This is the most British reaction to anything I've ever seen. Like John Cena's music and everyone's going crazy, and you guys are just standing there like, interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, he got a little surprise pop out of us. Like, fucking hell, Cena.
You guys got stood up, you know? The thing is,
what was your reaction? Hold on, because what was your reaction when he was like bringing WrestleMania to London?
We started doing like collective like eye rolls, like.
No, really?
That didn't move you?
because
he was just doing he was doing the whole Cena thing. Look, he's in England, so
John. You know what I mean?
He was aggressive to pandering as well. You know.
And then Monty goes, he's like, "We need a heel to come out." I was like, "Yeah, good idea." And Grayson Wallace, I was like, "God, why do you say that, man?" That was.
Boom, 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 boom.
He held his own out there, man.
He did. He actually did well.
We'll get to it.
Bro, that man, Cena, bro, he's an artist when it comes to the pandering because he's like, the powers that be don't want y'all in London, but I want y'all in London. And it's just like, all right, bro, all right. Good stuff, man. Thank you for the super chat. Darren Cagey, $2. Joe Holbert Promotions, rise up.
Real,
absolutely.
Ron DeSantis, $1.99. Joey Joe looking as scrumptious as ever. We the ones.
Not responding.
Big Hero Chris, $2. Happy Jay Uso Day, everyone. Throw the ones up.
Beautiful.
Pylons, $10. Thank you so much. Watching Joe's last match in NXT was really sad. So glad he's back in top form. Samoa Joe is that dude, man. You know, I got to be honest with you. I have a hot take. Even when Joe is like looking really washed, I still enjoy watching him.
Yeah.
That's such a hot take. No one else has ever said anything like that.
No, but people are like, "Oh, Joe looks so pathetic," and
no, bro, this is the shit that we were talking about. Yo, people said, "Who's people?" He sees like one or two negative opinions, and he's like, "That's it. The whole world is turned on him." Like, what are you talking about?
All right, here's a hot take. I thought Karrion Kross versus Samoa Joe was really good.
And I didn't hate it. I honestly didn't. But I
don't think I'd say really good. I would say it was just regular good.
I'll say this. I think there was a lot of like dramatic reactions to that match, considering Joe hadn't wrestled in 18 months and it was in like, you know, the PC.
Joe, I thought he looked good. And the reason why I enjoyed it was just because I missed watching him wrestle. So it was like, oh man, look at Samoa Joe, man. You know, so yeah.
Not even NXT, you know.
Yep. What a weird second run that was. Margaret, $1.99. Joseph, my dear, the wrestling face of Britain.
No response.
Not Margaret.
Israel, I'd like you to read this one.
Mahsin said, €4.99. Ibu is a liar. You said you were gonna have a cam on Sunday. He is a liar.
Call him out, man.
I was going to Mr. Raja, but some things came up, and
don't give him that shit, bro. Like,
I swear, so I
didn't get his makeup done in time. Like, come on. Get it together, bro. It's a wrestling podcast. What are we doing?
I had to rush here, man. I'm doing some stuff.
So did I.
Thanks, man. Bruh, $2. My man, which chants did Joe and Monty partake in the main event? That's a good question. Did you guys chant? Did you guys go along with anything?
Hell no, I don't make no sound.
You're a fucking freak.
Yeah, I talk to Monty and I observe, and I explain some of the psychological pieces. At one point, I said that's law, which I'll explain later. Look, man, there's no false advertising. There's no. Let's be fair, okay? When we were watching the main event, we were watching our little kids, and we were living and dying with every momentum swing. So I want to make this clear: I wasn't watching like a robot. But my personality is not such that I'm gonna like stand up and be like, yeah, you're a prick. You know what I mean? Like I'm just not like I just would say to Monty, like, this is sweet, man. This is good. You know, I said this all along. I mean, it is what it is. This is not news to anyone who watches shows. I pretty much advertise this, right?
Yeah, Joe's been hyping up like I'm a stoic guy and I just sit back and watch the grabs. And then the camera caught him and he was just sitting back watching the grabs. But I will say I refuse to believe that Monty didn't make any audible noise when Jay pinned Roman. He definitely. No. He definitely yelled.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, there was like a bit. There was a triumphant.
Yeah, we were talking and we'd make noise.
Yeah.
Like,
he definitely said some X-ray.
But like, there was no like actual chanting. Like we weren't going, Roman, you're a wanker.
We did get again. Like we got super wrapped up in the main event. Like I was saying crazy things in the main event. Like saying to Monty, like it's over. We're fucked. Like I was watching it like it was like a cup final. It was crazy. So we were very much into it.
And then Monty probably called Roman the GOAT one time or two.
Oh, we both did for sure. Yeah. I know for a fact. I was on the train. Like it's just no one like him. You know, I was just talking about Roman Reigns on public transport.
He's muttering himself and shit.
Yeah, it's like he's just one of one. You know.
when that man Roman said London acknowledged me, Monty's like, he's just real, bro. He's just real.
He really is, though.
He is, like I'm sorry, I can't even like play along with the anti-Roman stuff at this point. Like that dude he's just the real. He's the biggest star in the business by like a mile at this point.
He doesn't even have to bump.
But that's the thing. We'll get into that. But he conducts the whole match from the apron. Mm-hmm. Like, he's an artist. He's an artist.
Yeah, you could give me the perspective on the sideline view from when we get to it. Thanks for the super chat, bro. Neville Chamberlain, $5. Joe, you look lovely as ever. Why didn't Roman try to appease the Usos to get back on his side?
No response.
Thank you, Mr. Chamberlain.
No.
Arnold, that Logan Ricochet spot was unnecessary, added nothing to the match. No need for that risk. Also, Joe, I love your biceps. Flex for me. Flex for the Terminator. I
will not simply burn through my high spots. That's like an annual thing that I do. I'm not just going to just do it because Arnold Schwarzenegger asked me to.
Monty with a slight grin is going off. Like, horrible. That's about a 6.5 out of 10, Arnold.
Israel done the right thing, Disassociated herself with it immediately.
Boris Johnson. Lovely to see Liv Morgan embrace Brexit with her outfit. Joe, did you get me those London World Order shirts?
I will say, the dude next to me was like his girlfriend missed the match, the Liv Morgan match, which is so did Monty for that matter. Actually, we'll get to that. But he was like, the British girl won. I just popped huge at this being like half the crowd's response to Liv Morgan. Follow the product, brother. Is what it is.
Real stars,
Yeah.
Take this one, Monty.
Showtime Spurs, $5. That Uzi album made me realise hip hop has truly passed me by. Absolute trash. Glad to see it getting Nakamura over though. Well, yeah, man, we're getting old, brother. I don't know how old you are, but I can hear you. Sometimes I hear like who the new hot rapper is, and I'm just, even though Uzi's definitely not a hot new rapper, he's been around for a minute, but yeah, I'll get that feeling sometimes with certain artists as well, short term. So I'll feel you, brother. I'll feel you.
I'm on board, man. I'm a what does Uzi call his fan base? I'm a Uziite or whatever the fuck he's.
Yeah, I like Uzi for the most part. To be honest.
I didn't at first. I just he kind of grew on me, Yeah. Why not? Mashman 84 199. I seen enough. Joe should win the Owen and beat MJF.
I think Joe will win the Owen. I think Joe's gonna win the Owen.
Really thinks the way that angle was laid out, it was like, yo.
I think, because we're not going to talk about collision tonight, so I'll do this here quickly, and we'll talk about worldwide. But I think CM Punk is going to throw in the towel for Ricky Starks in the final. That's my official prediction. I'm locking in.
That's
Stay
fascinating.
tuned to AEW Collision.
Look, man, that angle, man. He felt like just the most scary man in AEW. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He felt like this is a dangerous guy that sends people to the hospital. Darren Cagey, $2. Ibu is cam off on his stomach, feet in the air. Close. I am laying completely flat on my back on my couch. My feet are
This
up.
is why he's not on camera, by the way. Though, he said he couldn't be on camera because stuff came up. It's because he wants to put his feet up and not give our viewers and our subscribers that are loyal to us and send us money in super chats and support what we do. He don't think you guys are good enough to show his face on camera on a regular basis.
I love you guys. The camera may come on tomorrow for worldwide. Depends on how busy I am. You know what I mean?
Because it's so time consuming. I'm never letting this go.
She said, Ezra said, "Pillow Princess Ibu, get the fuck out of here." Bob the Builder, $2 Canadian. Thoughts on Bubba the Love Sponge? I don't have any thoughts on Bubba the Love Sponge.
He fucking sucks. He fucking sucks. That's my thoughts on Bubba the Love Sponge.
Isn't that Hogan's like hanger on?
It was, yeah. Things got pretty. Never mind, Carol.
Willie, $9.99. In hindsight, WWE choosing Ronda over Mercedes in 2022 might be one of the worst decisions in a few years now that Ronda is all but done. No star power, bad matches, no longevity. WWE backed the wrong horse. Oh my God. cooked, bro. Ronda Rousey getting the spot against Charlotte at Mania, and when it was planned for Sasha, and the domino effect that created is so damaging to the women's division. So I totally agree with this. Isra, did you catch the super chat? This person is basically saying that WWE backing Ronda over Mercedes is one of the worst decisions in a long time.
Oh, that absolutely destroyed the women's division, and they're still struggling to recover from that. So yeah,
brutal.
I think that was.
Are we on the women's match?
Right. Like I remember we discussed this when it was happening. Not we, but like it was a discussion at the time, right? Like I think it was pretty apparent they'd picked wrong there, but it's become increasingly apparent since.
It's like worse. Sure. It's like aging worse and worse. You know. Yeah. Pylon's $5. CM Punk versus MJF in a unification ladder match at All Out. I'd love to see them wrestle again. I'd love to see them unify the titles. Get
that ladder out my fucking face.
Yeah, I didn't want to.
Why does it need to be a ladder match?
I just
because it's a unification, and I guess his idea would be that there's 2 belts. You know,
Joe, I saw someone on Twitter, someone who's actually a friend of mine on Twitter, suggest also an MJF Punk ladder match, and I just wanted to like punch a wall. I was like, I don't want to see Phil in the ladder match. It's like they can just wrestle and unify the belts. You know, that match is absolutely imminent. Phil is obviously.
But what belts are they unifying? Oh, that
AEW title
bag that Punk is carrying around.
Yeah, because if you remember,
so they're unifying a bag with a belt.
Yes.
This is peak problem.
Well, no, they haven't announced it, but that's the kind of direction.
People think that's where it's going.
Okay, right.
Mario Judah 199. I think I saw Ibu in one of the Jalen Green videos. What?
That was actually him. Like
what?
It comes to something when I fucking pick up on this and Ibu doesn't, you know.
Let's just move on to the next thing. He don't gotta know.
Someone in the chat help me out here.
No, don't do it.
Need Ibu Mikey Ruckus Eddie Kingston theme. Eddie Kingston theme was already put together by Mikey Ruckus. Mikey Ruckus basically just gave him a fake DMX.
No, we want you to do an impression.
The world is cold, but knuckle up. The fucking bullshit DMX shit he has. If you see me staring at you, better knuckle up.
Like so do you remember when that shit dropped and someone was like, wait, is that actually DMX? Like, no, it's absolutely not. Right?
No, it is not. No, it is not.
I love
that's all for now, by the way. So
thank you.
Keep them coming. Appreciate you.
Keep them coming, guys. You guys are fun. Yeah, man. The second match. Speaking of Ronda Rousey, she was with Shayna Baszler, and they defended the WWE Women's Tag Titles. These belts were just recently unified with the NXT Women's Tag Championships. They beat Alba Fire and Isla Dawn on a SmackDown, and so now the NXT Women's Tag Champions can travel brand to brand to defend these belts. Shayna and Ronda came in the heavy favorites. I expected them to win the match. They faced Liv and Raquel. Liv Morgan recently came back. Istra's cat is on screen to join us, the 5th member of the podcast. But yeah, so this match happened. I didn't expect anything from this, and the crowd is still into it because it's the UK crowd. Like I said, Liv Morgan just came back, and then Shayna Baszler, after a couple minutes, just turns on Ronda Rousey and chokes her out, and the crowd is super into it. They're like doing, I think I saw some yes chants and people celebrating. She walks off, and then Ronda gets pinned, and she loses the tag titles. I don't know who the babyface is here. I don't know who the heel is here. I didn't expect this to happen at all. Very confused. Very random. Yeah, Liv and Raquel are the tag champions. And according to Dave Meltzer, Ronda Rousey is she's going to be leaving imminently, and she has a hard out on her deal. I haven't heard anything about this, but I do know that when hard out is what they describe for contracts that don't have to have injury time added to it. So, a contract like that. Like,
do y'all see my cat? I was petting her in the head, and she's cleaning her face now. Y'all see this girl? I'm so offended right now.
Very, very bougie.
That is.
You're fine. So, bottom line is, according to Meltzer, this abrupt turn happened because Ronda's going to work Shayna before leaving, and that she's going to be leaving imminently. Because again, she has a hard out. So we'll see. We'll monitor that situation for sure. Do you guys have any thoughts on the match, this result, and that report? I'll start with this. Yeah, go ahead, Monty.
Yeah, let's throw it to Israel. I should have something a lot more interesting to say than I have anyway.
What's going on? Oh my god.
Your girl Liv
Yeah,
Morgan is one of the tag champs.
This is not a match that straight men will be able to comprehend.
Sure, talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah, like tell me about it.
I watched it.
Yeah, what's up?
Like that's so she's now a 2-time women's tag team champion. She won that shit cleanly, might I add. I honestly thought this was just like it was a really good match, honestly. And when Shayna had turned on what's that bitch name? Ronda
Rousey.
It was very like out of nowhere. But if I was affiliated with Ronda Rousey in any capacity, I would also like at some point come to my senses and be like, what the fuck am I doing with this bitch? And beat the fuck out of her. Like, so Shayna is just so real for that. Like, y'all complain WWE booking this. No, that's some real shit that she did. So, you know, I'm co-signing. I think that was very smart because number one, now Liv Morgan don't got to deal with her no more. Like, because now Ronda's going to have to do her own thing with Shayna and they're going to be beefing on the sideline, and Shayna don't have anything to do with her anymore because they're going to be beefing. So, you know, it's a win-win because I love Shayna. I've loved Shayna since NXT, and I feel like on the main roster, she don't ever get like her like due diligence. So, you know, I love that for them. And also, you know, Liv can now actually have a full-length tag reign without like, you know, injuries or anything like that. So, yeah, I'm just looking forward to that.
On every level, this was a very Israel-pilled booking decision for sure. Are you going to miss
simultaneously?
Are you going to miss Ronda Rousey?
Fuck.
Asking Israel, she'll miss.
Is my shit lagging? I'm so sorry.
A little, you know, a little. I think you're back now. Yeah, Israel, are you going to miss Ronda Rousey?
Oh, it's for sure lagging. Yeah.
Joe Holbert, are you going to miss
Ronda Rousey? No, bro, I'm not.
I'm sorry.
That match was actually pretty good.
What did you ask me?
Like,
I asked you. Third time's the charm here. Are you going to miss Ronda Rousey, Israel?
Yeah, it's over.
Monty, me and you, we've been like done with her run for like maybe 7 months now.
Honestly, the match was actually pretty spirited, nicely put together. I missed the turn because someone sat in Monty's seat and I had to tell them that someone was sitting there. And I looked back around and Shane was beating the hell out of Ronda. And I was like, what's happening?
I looked up at my phone and I was like, wait, what? The thing is, when the match was happening, all I know is that every time I looked up from my phone, like there was heat and they were doing something, and I was like, all right.
Yeah, they kept the crowd engaged, which like we can dismiss that and say something, but honestly, not all of these matches kept them as engaged as this one. I know it was early, but that's all you can do, right? Like they weren't going to have a great match. That was not the intention anyway. But they just kept the people in it, had a nice tag match. They did the angle, which I have no real opinion on, other than, you know, if that's the deal with Ronda, that's the deal, right? So we'll see.
Right. Israel's back. So that was that. That's what happened with Ronda Rousey. Again,
I apologize. My connection is like, I don't know what's going on.
It's fine. But yeah, that was the second match, and like you said, Joe, they did keep them engaged for sure. But yep, match 2, you know, fine stuff. The third match was Gunther and Matt Riddle for the Intercontinental Championship. Matt Riddle is sporting a new look. He has a fade on the sides and these 2 twin braids. He looks like a Detroit drug dealer. He looks like he'd be in a Fast and Furious movie. Gunther's Gunther, great entrance. Giovanni Vinci's back, part of the presentation. And this match didn't get a lot of time. You know, like if this match got like a lot of time, I thought it'd be like a WWE epic. It didn't get to reach that level, but I got to be frank with you guys, and I'm sure I'd be in the minority here. For the 7 to 10 minutes that these guys got, because I'm just such a fan of their working style specifically, I thought that in this window of time, they got a lot more out of this time than other guys would, and I really enjoyed this from a wrestling standpoint. You know, some of the online reactions are a bit more down, and they're disappointed in this. This certainly was not the ceiling of match that these guys could reach. It's not a patch on their stuff from, like, you know, PWG and things like that. But I still very much enjoyed this. And yeah, I think Gunther's amazing, and I think he's the best Intercontinental Champion of all time. And this was not one of his best defenses, but it was still a very good one, in my opinion. What did you think of it, Joe?
I was decent. I liked watching Gunther, but to the thing I just said, this actually really struggled to keep the people engaged. Like, it really did. You actively could tell people what I'm playing. In fact, even Monty and I, who were really excited to see Gunther, were kind of, this was when we started just talking shop, right? And like the match was just taking place in front of us, because the audience, it's weird. They were into Riddle's entrance, but there didn't seem to be much babyface support for Riddle within the match. You kind of had a situation where Gunther was getting heat to kind of like applause. And, I mean, I thought it was a decent match, and it was, the work is good in it. It's just, ultimately, you make a choice here, right? It's like, where do you see Matt Riddle on the card? What they did is exactly what I would do with Matt Riddle and Gunther, which is Gunther won completely emphatically in center of the ring. Because that's what I don't think you should have Matt Riddle going 25 minutes with Gunther. I think that's like way above where he's at right now. Yeah, but I will say I think this show could have benefited greatly from like the kind of Gunther match we've come to expect on its undercard. Right. I was looking through the show earlier, like rewatching, and like I had a great time. I kind of thought this show was like lacking just some like good pro wrestling at some level. You know what I'm saying? Like in terms of like, you have the ladder matches, you have the main event, which we know what the main event is. I'm not saying it's a bad show, folks. What I'm saying is like, not a lot of the matches got time that were just professional wrestling matches. Right. And a nice 15-minute Gunther match, I think really would have beefed up the card a little bit.
Joe, I'm gonna stop you there and say that is specifically why, again, I thought this was a good show, right? And it was cemented because of the main event that it was a good show. But I think that lack of like singles great wrestling match is actually the reason why I still prefer the Puerto Rico show over this, for example. I do too. Yeah. Like I prefer Backlash in Puerto Rico. I actually kind of like Saudi more than this too. But yeah, so I like Saudi a bit more. And then obviously, like Mania Night One's like a completely different strategy from any other WWE show this year, right?
I mean, and so still, I was there, right? Like the atmosphere helps. But Monty and I were still talking to each other at the show and was like, "There's not been anything that's blown us away." We were there for one match, so we wasn't expecting it. It wasn't like we were like, "Oh, this is disappointing," but nothing exceeded our expectations on the undercard, which I thought was just interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, good show. The undercard, everything was just like okay to like just good. The ladder matches are the ladder matches, and like I just like you, I would have preferred if this was like some 4.5-star fucking back and forth epic classic. All of a sudden, this show is automatically like very good to me, rather than just good. But nonetheless, I still liked this. Monty, I'd imagine you had the same feelings as Joe on the Matt Riddle Gunther match.
I get why a lot of people like the reaction anyway. Like a lot of people kind of like felt a bit let down, disappointed by this. They were expecting more of like an epic Gunther title defense. So they're looking at it through that lens rather than just kind of like rating it for what it was. And kind of to your point, it'd be like for what it was it was tidy, good stuff. Nothing in there looked bad. The chop on the foot for the finish that popped me, and Gunther done what, to Joe's point, what I felt like he should have done to Riddle. I don't think Riddle should be having like a 20-minute match with Gunther. I don't see in Riddle that a lot of people see at this point. A few years ago I did, definitely. And I think a lot of people still hold him up to that standard. He just ain't. He's not bad at all. Like, he's far from bad, But, he's not, when I'm thinking of like, Gunther work rate match for a pay-per-view, I'm not putting Riddle on my list, sorry. Saw someone in the chat say Pete Dunne, would have much preferred it,
I think it would much better. Yeah, I think it would much better. And Monty actually had a good point when we leaving the show. He said this to me. I hadn't thought about it this way because I don't watch as closely as he does, but he was like, Riddle has gone from being like, he had a certain legitimacy in NXT. He was goofy, but he was still presented as like a badass, right? Because he had the legitimate background. And then Vince turned him into like a full like cartoon character. And now he's like just like living in this like middle area. Yeah, yes. And I thought that was accurate. Like I didn't know how to take him as someone, and you guys know I'm like a huge fan by any means. But I didn't know how to take him in this role. I couldn't tell how he was trying to present himself, how they wanted to present him. It was, and again, I say all this. I mean, it's a nice match. It is a nice match. It's just certainly not the most encouraging showing. If you're a big Riddle fan, I think it's fair to say as to where he's at right now. So
clearly the regime wanted to position him a certain way when it first began. If you remember, he main evented a pay-per-view with Seth Rollins in a non-title match, and he beat him. But again, he did himself in with certain things that happened, and since coming back, he's kind of been in that weird middle ground as a character and a weird middle ground in the card.
You're gonna have to bring that up.
I'm just, no, I mean, it's worth mentioning.
I mean, he's part of it, you know.
His personal situation has led to an absence that's caused him to, his spot.
That literally never happened.
What's up? What happened? What did you make of Gunther versus Matt Riddle? What did you make of Gunther versus Matt Riddle?
Is my shit not working?
Maybe you're getting the audio.
There's a delay, Ross. So
well,
we don't know what you're replying to us for.
We can hear you. All right.
Okay. How about now?
Okay, I'm gonna.
Because y'all are normal to me.
Let's see how long it takes for you to hear this and respond. What did you think of Matt Riddle versus Gunther, Isra?
Okay. Boring.
Okay, you got that. You got that a little late, but that's fine. We still got the answer.
Was there a delay?
Yes.
It's slower.
All right, I'll be back.
You're like, what do you think of the match? It sucked. It's like, okay. All right. But the big thing is post-match, Monty. Because Mr. Drew McIntyre, who we've discussed on Worldwide, his contract situation, his creative situation, his future, a guy that we thought was he's either going to come back as a baby to face Gunther or come back as a heel to face Seth. There's one of two options. And what we got was Drew McIntyre as a babyface versus Gunther. He comes out, crowd pops huge for him, big reaction. They were singing, "Oh, Drew McIntyre, oh, Drew McIntyre." I'm sure Joe Holbert was leading the song at this point, just jumping along and conducting it amongst the people. And yeah, man, he came out, big surprise. Well, I mean, big surprise for some. I'm sure some people did expect him. This is like a target date for him. And look, he headbutted Gunther. He did the 3-2-1, and he claymored him. What did you think of this return angle, Monty?
Obviously, I'm happy to see Drew back. Pop for him, Great reaction, of course. The idea of him versus Gunther in a singles match for a belt is pornographic. Get all that out of the way. I'm not a fan of him coming back as a babyface. Obviously in this setup in the UK, of course he's going to get a babyface reaction and stuff. But I don't know when the idea of Drew coming back to WWE soon was kind of being floated about, I was just kind of hoping he'd come back as a heel. To be honest, we'll see what happens. It could still swing that way in the next couple of months, but I doubt it. Seems like he wants to keep rolling with the babyface thing, man. But yeah, it's good to see Drew back. Drew's great. Drew's a great wrestler, man. He's got a little bit of everything. He's not like the most amazing promo in the world, but he's comfy out there, and everything else he ticks off the box pretty emphatically. So Drew's great, man. Great to see him back. The Gunther match is going to be great. The only thing I'd put down about it is I was kind of hoping he'd be a heel. So
yeah. You'd be much more excited if his run out was after Rollins' match, catching a Claymore and that type of thing.
Yeah. Oh. Heel Drew. I was big on heel Drew.
You're the biggest heel Drew fan on the planet.
Oh, bro. I thought he was beast, bro.
You love heel Drew.
He's an animal. He's killing people.
That fucking run where he's
you know what I thought was quite beast, even though it was also quite bad at the same time. I don't know. I think it was it was there was a tag match or something. The match where basically Drew wins the match for him and Dolph, and he ends up dragging Dolph out on his shoulder, and he just looked like a fucking animal.
They were a good act, genuinely. They were a good act.
Yeah, Drew looked unstoppable in that one. He looked like an animal, and he had a viciousness to him, and he was a beast as a heel, man. Beast as a heel. So. We had fun with the babyface run. He won the world title a couple of times, and that. He won the Rumble. He beat Brock at Mania. He had that great food with Orton. He done his things, man. But look, again, I was really hoping we'd get heel Drew back.
It kind of pops me, Joe, how much not that it's a bad it's just so random, a 2018 just Drew McIntyre with Dolph, how much Monty's into it, because it was a good run, but it's not particularly
terrible time in the company. That was the thing.
It's not fondly remembered at all. Yeah,
it was good. Remember when Drew and Dolph were a thing, but then again, they do this thing with Dolph where every 2 years they're let's just heat him up again, and for what it's worth, he always is good in it. They did it with NXT a year ago.
Proper pro,
he's beasting that. You know what? In fact, I'm publicly requesting right now, I'm ready for my yearly Dolph Ziggler push. Let's
Dolph versus Gunther. You know what I mean? Little 15 minutes on a page.
Listen. Look, Joe's kind of Dolph is a beast. Man.
Just have Gunther kill Dolph for 15 minutes. The thing about it is,
for whatever reason, it always works to a degree. He'll just come back and be like, "It's my time to finally get what I deserve." And I'm like, "All right, man, let's do it again, Dolph." Joe, what did you think of Drew McIntyre coming back and fighting Gunther?
It was cool to see him. I mean, I don't have a personal attachment to Drew, but he was over huge in the building, and whenever a guy's over like that, and they've been in the news in a way where you're kind of rooting for them to get what they deserve. From my understanding, there's no update on the contract front, right? There's nothing new there, but even still, it's glad. In terms of formally, I mean,
yeah.
I don't think there's any, but I think we all kind of assume, right? But even still, it's nice for him to get that moment and get that reaction, because it was weird him not being on the show. So that was cool. I'm with Monty on the heel thing purely because I don't love the idea of Drew being the guy that beats Gunther. I feel like you can really make someone with that, but then the question is, who are you making? It's I don't know, so fair.
Braun, I don't know.
But the match was. The match will be terrific and will add an awful lot to SummerSlam. I'm sure. I assume that's where it will land. So I'm excited for the match itself. This was a classic Monty Holbert duo moment here. As after the Gunther match, I just was on my phone, just sitting there, and I heard the big sword noise. Got one of these little signaling taps from oh, big man's back. I was like, oh. Slowly rose to my feet.
Israel, what did you think of Drew McIntyre's return and the angle on Gunther?
Okay, first of all, everything's all good right now, right?
Yes. Okay.
Well, what are we talking about?
What did you make of Drew McIntyre's return and his attack on Gunther?
Oh.
No!
Everything is not good.
God damn, no!
Oh, man.
It's
man. It's very sad.
We've all been there, folks.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Joe, I will say this. I think that Israel, are you back? No, she's not. Joe, I will say that I think that Drew Gunther will be the mid-show Gunther banger that Riddle Gunther was not, and that's
honestly,
because
it's a style thing, right? Carry on, sorry, go.
I was gonna say, and I think it will be almost mainly because the company sees Drew at a level that they just don't see Riddle at, and he's also just more of a company man. I mean, the guy was doing in his absence, dude, he was doing a lot of community work on behalf of the company and stuff, with kids and things like that. They really like him. They think he's a great work ethic. He's a good dude, good character guy. So I could see them going all right, no, you can now go 20 with Gunther in the middle of SummerSlam and have that 4+ star match.
Well, there's a certain substance that Gunther's style can add to one of these shows. These shows are wonderful spectacles, and there's a great deal of pomp and circumstance, and they're a good experience live. But there's a certain grit that a great Gunther match can give a show. That I think was lacking from this event in ring. So yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I think I'll be there for SummerSlam for sure.
Absolutely. So yeah, he's back. Only thing I have to add to this is that I get that the compromise here is that we now have to sacrifice Gunther losing his belt, and frankly, I could go the rest of the year with him holding the championship, and I would have no problem at all. I think he's the best wrestler in the company in terms of consistency of output. I actually now look forward to watching him wrestle on Mondays because he's so great. So yeah, man, it's gonna kind of suck a little bit that Drew's probably gonna beat him. But then my new agenda is for Gunther to win the World Heavyweight Championship. My new agenda is now Gunther.
Hello.
Yes.
I'm switching to my phone. Hi.
What's up?
We're back.
Raise your hand when I say blue.
You just said it.
Blue. Okay, I fucked up. Okay. Let me try this again. Say 0 after I say 1. 3, 2, 1.
0? Wait, you said 3, 2, 1.
Yeah. Okay, wait, we'll try this one more time live on air.
I was so confused. I'm like, wait, you didn't say 1 yet.
Monty wants to stab himself.
It's not even Isra, it's Ibu, bro. Like, it's so brutal at trying to work out. Like, it's. Like,
I think Monty would have did a better job, honestly. But I think we're all good.
Okay, Isra, are you into the idea of Drew McIntyre beating Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship?
Absolutely not. That's for Sheamus. Are you dumb?
Wow.
No. No. Absolutely not.
You know what, Monty? I got a new agenda, Monty. Gunther wins the world title later this year. Sheamus wins the Royal Rumble. And we get Gunther Sheamus 3 for the world title at WrestleMania.
Why not? Sheamus wants the OIC title as well, but he needs to complete the collection, you know?
When I seen Drew McIntyre come out, I'm like, this is cute. Like, you know, I'm sure, you know, a lot of people missed him, I guess. But my thing, when I think, you know, the person that's going to dethrone Gunther, I'm not thinking Drew McIntyre, respectfully. I'm also not thinking that Drew McIntyre is going to take the belt off Roman or Seth. So maybe it's time for Buddy to pivot and move out the way, because that's for Sheamus, if I'm completely honest. And I respect Drew. I think he's hot. You know, he's had a lot of great, you know, he's stacked real nice. But besides that, like, when the bell rings, I'm very iffy on Buddy. So, you know, maybe pivot to Austin Theory, or maybe pivot to AEW or something. Because I think, you know, as of today, or he could have just waited and returned at a different time. But I'm just not seeing him beating Gunther and, like, have that be the thing to do, especially with the history that Gunther has with Sheamus. If I'm completely honest, that's been the most compelling thing that's revolving that championship since Gunther got it. So that's that.
Montel B, what do you think about a Drew McIntyre Cody Rhodes tag team?
I'm so glad you asked Monty and not me.
You know, two guys that need something to do for the rest of the year. Badass baby faces. I don't know. You know? I don't know.
Yeah, I'll pass
in promos. The pandering in those promos would be disgusting, bro.
We are going to give back to the universe, and Cody's just like screaming over Drew. Oh man, Cody coming out in a kilt, you know, a red, white, blue kilt.
Let's
the next
put
match...
two of the most. Never mind.
I
don't want to disrespect Drew because anyway. Yeah, let's move on.
Super chats, let's go. The man who beat Chris Patton twice strikes back. $2 super chat. South Parker Family Guy. Also, Fuda in his normal guys. Is this Zubaz? He didn't even.
Oh, cool. Southpaw.
They both got bad relatively fast.
Yeah.
You know, like they both got like pretty
I don't want to put my name to either.
I'm not. I was gonna say like I'm not talking. I haven't actually watched any modern South Park in like years, but in terms of like overall how I see them, I'd go with South Park.
Both shows got like shitty like after like 3 to 6 years. You know, Darren Walker, 5 pounds. I wish Raquel Rodriguez gets pushed as a single star. She can be a big female star in WWE. I just think she's lacking charisma and like big star magnetism, man. What do you think, Isra?
I think get in line. That's my opinion on that.
2 Canadian Ibu No Cam versus Isra internet connection.
Oh my God! Please do not put me on this man's tier.
Listen,
This is probably the most offensive thing that's ever happened, like on this whole podcast that I've ever been a part of.
My non-camera.
And the crazy thing is, I've been good the past few weeks. Like the internet thing hasn't been a problem for like months, and like. That's what happened.
Nah, you could.
You're fine. I know Monty's pissed. Ibu No Camp is their connection.
Hey man, I'm not mad at Israel. It happens. Ibu, on the other end, he's just
what the fuck?
He scored.
Well, the connection thing is not my fault, but Ibu was being lazy. He's being a pillow princess.
Yes.
I'm not being a
for
pillow.
no reason.
I'm not.
You're talking about you're busy, so you can't put the camera on. You're busy laying on your back. Let's just move on, bro. This is disgusting.
Thank you, Bob. Oh, Pylons, what odds do you give Drew of making the jump, not renewing? Drew McIntyre is staying in WWE, Pylons.
Gas.
Yeah.
Monty versus Ibu, lights out match, special ref Isra. I'd win.
I'd kick the shit out of him. You don't want to see
I'm not
that.
gonna lie to you,
know,
bro.
it's a
I'm the
squash.
special ref.
She's
I'm not winning shit.
It's a shitty Wardlow squash. That's what that is. You know,
Isra would do
put
the
my
heel ref.
working boots on for that.
She do the heel ref stick where I got the pin and she's gonna like count mad slow until this nigga kicks out.
I'm literally gonna be handing him weapons and act like I don't see.
He will rise up like Taker and turn the cam on. Maybe for 250 live viewers, you know what I mean?
Okay, great.
The narcissism on this man, he really is like the WrestlePure's Cody Rhodes.
Bro, Brad Evans said Ibu's a dirty carny. Brad Evans said Ibu's a dirty carny pillow princess. I'm a carny, I'll admit it, you know. Speaking of carnies, Cody Rhodes faced Dominik in the next match. This one 840. This was
Nepo baby off.
Nepo baby off. Dominik got huge heat. I'm gonna ask you guys, like, how was Dominik's heat in the building? Because sometimes it's tough to tell if it's piped in or what. Like what was his vibe like to him?
No, he was getting booed very, very loudly throughout the whole match, and
the
crowd was totally on board with this whole thing. Like everyone wanted Cody to get, to basically just to beat up Dom. He did like a tiny little cut off that they booed. I mean, he's obviously like, here's what I'd say, it's a different kind of heat because he's not like taken seriously, which is what the heat is, right? Like, so when people were talking about what this match was going to be, it was like Cody should not really be having like a 15-minute, extravaganza. Like he should be beating him, and that's what they did. So I had no beef with it. And it was, the crowd really enjoyed it, and ultimately, I think that's what the match's purpose was. So I have an issue with this. But to your question, his heat was real. Yes, I can confirm people booed him.
This is a match that, like, if they really wanted to, they could have, like, Damian Priest Bad Bunny'd this, where, like, they could have made it into a big-time spectacle with a lot of preposterousness.
Bro, you would need 2 talented wrestlers to do something like that. Please.
Here's the thing. They really could have added... They could have added set pieces and preposterousness and crazy stuff.
You can't manufacture magic. Please don't disrespect Bad Bunny and Damian Priest like that ever again.
Well, I'll say this was well short of that match, but I guess the bigger point is it probably shouldn't be that if you really want to be Cody Rhodes to be at a certain level, you know what I mean? And so, like Joe said earlier in the show, like Rhodes was he got the big star presentation and just beat Dominik pretty promptly, right?
He beat Dominik, and then he was celebrating like he won Universal Championship. Like, you just beat Dom, like everyone beats Dom.
Listen, man, that's big star treatment, you know what I mean?
No, that's called narcissism, because beating Dominik does not warrant that type of a celebration.
Joe and Monty,
like, who does Buddy think he is?
Joe and Monty, did you guys see on SmackDown? They called this match a main event. It was advertised as one of the main events of this match.
See that?
I was ready to blow something up.
Concerned is too strong, but that was a little bit strange to me, simply because I always assumed that Cody they'd make it very clear Cody was like, a couple tiers above him on the card. When I saw that, I was assuming they might do what you were kind of referencing in terms of the big, set pieces and realize this and I was thinking that's just not necessary. I think it would have hurt Cody, honestly.
If they had like a 20-minute epic with like interferences and craziness and stuff.
Yeah.
I'll say this.
The storyline simply does not have the layers or the heat or the talent to do something like that. So I don't understand what this conversation is. No disrespect to none of you, but what is? How is that going to hurt anyone? How is that going to help anyone? How are people going to run in and do stuff like?
Well,
it would hurt Cody. If Cody goes back and forth with Dom and is presented as equal to him, to me that pulls Cody down, because no one takes Dom seriously as like a wrestler, right? So This was the way of doing it, where they make it clear to the audience that Cody is a cut above.
I think Dominik should actually teach Cody how to wrestle.
We're in different positions here, then. You know, that's fine.
Did Monty kick Israel?
No, she either left or it cut out again. I don't know. So
I was gonna say, the minute it was marketed as a main event, Joe, I immediately knew it. Like, people were going crazy on Twitter, like, "Oh my God, it's actually close." Bro, we knew what that was. That was just Cody Rhodes is a big star, and we just want that to kind of be in your minds that he's a big star, and also to make Rhodes himself feel good. You know, I think there is a bit of ego massaging to it. You know what I mean? Of like, you know, hey man, we're calling this the main event when it's clearly not. It was marketed as one of the three of them. So, yeah, Monty, what was it like in the building, being in the presence of the American Nightmare, sir?
Second time in a few months now.
Yeah, man. How's it feeling?
He's he's a proper star, bro. Real star presence. You know, people love him. Proper babyface reactions. The kids love him in the crowds. You know, you see all the Nightmare shots. It's it's quite something when a big superstar babyface is around. And yeah, the heat in the building was good. You know, people were coming up with chants for Cody Rhodes and stuff. That was fun. You know. Yeah, man, it was heated, and it was kind of what it needed to be honest. It was nothing special. It was very much to Joe's point, you know, like they kind of fucked around a little bit, and then Cody pinned him in the middle, you know.
Pinned him right in the middle, man.
Yeah. Shout out Rhea's hair. That's what I want to say. Yeah. Rhea's hair popped me.
I will say, Cody live was over huge. Right, like he was over, mega over. So
when Rhea Ripley came out, I hated the hair at first. I was like, "What the hell is this? Why'd she shave the sides?" Then it zoomed in, and she didn't shave it; she just braided the sides, and I kind of liked it.
Yeah, you're just slow.
No, I couldn't. My eyes are bad, you know. I have bad eyesight. So
also,
what's up?
My internet didn't disconnect or anything. My phone died right after I said that, and you know what? I can't catch a fucking break today.
Like you were basically fuck Cody.
The timing was good at least.
You know?
Yeah, it was like a mic drop, you know.
Yeah,
but the thing is, when it died, I'm like, you know what? That's all I had to say. It's all good.
It was like, Cody sucks. When she leaves, I was like, either mic dropped or Monty was like, I had enough. Like, one or the other. But you know, Cody Rhodes won emphatically, and we were followed by John Cena coming out of nowhere.
Cody Rhodes and John Cena back to back. Like, I almost thought Trump was still president.
Joe Hulbert's
Don't do that.
Joe Hulbert's favorite wrestler of all time, Jonathan Felix Anthony Cena, came out. Joe Hulbert, the leader of the Chain Gang, you know, a Chain Gang soldier, a member of the C Nation. He came up. He was doing the "You Can't See Me" to Monty. You know what I mean?
Bro.
He comes out. It's like, holy shit. The crowd is going insane. Like, they're losing their minds for him, right? And he's just like, what am I doing here? And he's cutting a total John Cena promo where, like, it just feels kind of like disingenuous, you know? But, like, he's just super Cena-y about it. And he's framing, like, WWE's the bad guys and him as the good guy. And he's just like, I think y'all don't take over the show. Y'all are the show. And everyone in London's like, yeah. And he's like, we should bring another show to you guys. And you guys are like, yeah.
Does London have a stadium?
Yeah. Wembley.
Wembley, Spurs, you know.
Oh, yeah, because y'all, okay, well, that makes sense.
Yeah, and so.
There's another one in there. Like a big one that you can do events at. Like, obviously, there's loads of states. Yeah, Emirates. You could definitely
do the Emirates. They're always in
Emirates.
talks for those, like the big fights. They always come up and they never end up there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he's cutting the super John Cena ass babyface promo. You guys in London were lapping it up, going crazy for it. He even pointed out, like, I'm used to you guys saying Cena sucks and stuff like that. You know, full John Cena. And as Monty noted earlier, that he was telling Joe a heel used to come out. And so Grayson Waller's music hits. He walks out, and he's being Grayson Waller, and John Cena's being John Cena. And they're going back and forth. And quite frankly, Isra, you're muted. I don't know if you realize that. You're muted. Yeah, you're muted. What a day. What a day. Yeah, Grayson Waller. I got to say, I thought he hung in there with John, you know, in this heated environment. where John is a big star and the crowd probably.
I
doesn't
think
even
he
know
made that segment so much better.
He definitely hung in there and went toe to toe with him and gave him a guy to work with. You know what I mean? To go back and forth with. And again, I thought it kind of went a little long, but again, Waller like came off very poised and comfortable in this setting. And because he showed the type of skill sets that like WWE really likes in their white heels, you know, these just like douchebag heel guys. I feel like there's like 7 of these now right now. He's cemented himself a nice little job. What did you think of this, Monty?
I mean, yeah, obviously it was like a cool surprise seeing Cena come out. You know, his music just hit. It was just like one of those ones. So you know, everyone like the crowd was just like so energetic and just ready to hear anything that Cena had to say. And you know, Cena done his thing and he was pandering, and the crowd was eating it up and eating it up, and he kept on doing it, and they were eating it up and eating it up, and it just kept going and going. Everyone, like I said, everyone was eating it up, bro. While it comes out. And he held his time. You know, he held his own out there, definitely, because there's definitely times in it where like the crowd boos and him chanting "shut the fuck up" and that to him and stuff like that. Where like 95% of wrestlers would have been thrown off. You know, like he didn't shake at all. You know, he stuck it out there. He's got decent delivery. You know, and he's just decent heel promo, bro. And he hung out there with John Cena, which, you know, a lot of people can't do in itself. Like, we saw it with, like, Theory, you know, like, there was just, like, that weird...
Oh, man. Yes,
you know, so if you compare it to that, you know, 2 guys who are, like, seen as, like, you know, young up-and-comers, obviously Theory's a lot further ahead. But, you know, if you compare it to that, Waller was definitely quite impressive, especially in a spot where you kind of, like, you know, you're thrown in to take an AA from Cena, you know, like, it's just, you know... I'm sure it's cool for him as well. Like he even mentioned, even though he was healing it up, you know, Cena's every heel says it's Cena these days. Cena was the rider, man. You know, he gets to share the ring with him, eating AA. I'm sure it was a good time for him, you know. So shout out Grayson Waller, you know, he done his thing.
I'll tell you what, man. Fucking this does remind me to say that Austin Theory is having one of the worst modern mid card title reigns I have ever seen. Like he just.
I don't know. There's some bad ones, brother. There's some really bad ones, man.
I guess
this one is bad because they've put like effort into it. It's especially
right.
Yeah.
Other bad mid card reigns is because like you know Vince didn't care about the guy and it was like not a thing. This is like a pushed and protected guy that like they see as someone who's gonna be a player, and it's like really bad. And like it got actively worse after the John Cena match. So yeah. Isra, what did you make of Grayson? What's up?
Hi.
How's it going? Thanks for joining us. What did you think of Grayson Waller? What do you think of his showing against John Cena?
I'm not a fan of promos in the middle of pay-per-views. I
Fair.
didn't think it was a long pay-per-view to have to like give them an intermission or anything like that. So I thought the whole thing was very unnecessary. Also, nothing about WrestleMania being in London was announced after the fact, as far as I know. So it's like, was he just like giving you like empty promises? I don't know.
Monty and Joe, did you guys hear about Triple H like throwing his hands up in the scrum when they asked him about it?
That's hilarious.
People were like going like, all right, so when is this happening? What are the logistics? How is it going to conflict with football? What arena? What day of the week? Because, you know, and he's just like, I don't fucking know. God, what the fuck? I don't know.
Like, I just got here.
he almost made it. He made it seem like John Cena went into business for himself, which that's inconceivable. But he was like, he was like, you know, John, he put me in an unenviable position here because I don't have answers for you guys. You know, like, so he did that whole routine. But yeah, man, John Cena came out and he did his thing, and Joe loved it, and people loved it as well. So that was the thing there. Joe was texting Charlie as it happened, and she was giddy, and she was losing her mind. And
this is despicable.
I thought it was like, I don't know, seeing John Cena in 2023 just showing up just to show up, like it's just like a little novelty, like that's really it. It was really cool. A nothing ass promo.
It was cool. It was a long segment, is the one that I would say. I wanted did well, but the only thing that I just thought was like baffling was that point they kept making about, oh, here's where they like, you know, they cheer the bad guys. It's like they just did Dom and Cody the match before. They didn't do that the whole night. It was so strange they made a big thing of that, you know.
They framed you guys as this like bizarro world crowd that just goes against the grain and boos all the good guys. And I'm like,
I don't care, but it was weird, right? Like it was like it didn't make sense.
It was nice. You know, it was nice.
Cool. It's a cool thing
so
to see,
when not my mom or my brother's like, oh, how was it? You know, I'm like, well, you know, obviously I'm not going to be like, oh, well, in the Usos match and break down the spots. You know, you just say in blanket statement. You know, in blanket statements, you thought, well, you know, you got to see Cena. You know,
were you tempted to bring family, Monty, or not?
No. What do you think? I hate this guy, man.
Well,
what a question.
The follow to this is the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Io Sky defeated Bayley, Becky Lynch, Trish Stratus, Zelina Vega, and Zoe Stark. I'll just be the first one to say this right up front.
The right woman won.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
This was a match that I actually did care who won the match for the Money in the Bank. I thought it was Io or bust, frankly. Becky Lynch is such a star that she doesn't need to win this to get a title shot. And Io Sky is talented as hell. She can have main event matches with other women. And going even beyond that, guys, I got to say, this turned into, to me, in my opinion, I actually liked this. I liked this match. I thought Becky Lynch.
What do you mean you actually liked it? Did you think it was going to be bad?
I did think.
Or is it because people said things on the timeline?
No. I thought this was going to suck.
So you okay? No, it's okay.
Yeah,
you've been a misogynist, so I'm not surprised.
I thought this match was gonna suck, and I was kind of dreading it. And then Becky Lynch came off like an absolute superstar. She was just kicking the shit out of everybody. You know, Trish Stratus and Zoe Starks are double teaming her, and she's fucking throwing them around like a superhero and shit. And she really came off well here. Bayley and Becky were caught in handcuffs in the climactic spot. I thought this was really creative and fun. They got stuck together by Io, and then Io ended up winning this match. Zelina did a cool sunset flip powerbomb off a ladder onto another ladder. And the crowd was into this. So I got to say, man, I thought not only did I like this, actually, I thought this was the best Women's Money in the Bank ladder match that I can remember personally, because a couple of them just kind of didn't flow this well or have this much cohesiveness or have the best winners. This felt like it had a direction. There were some story elements. The winner is someone that they're going to go with. So I would give this a thumbs up. Joe, where are you with this?
I would agree. I would say this played much better on TV than it did in the building for me personally. Especially when they were on the floor. Right, Monty? Is that fair to say? We know when they were doing the handcuff stuff, like we kind of lost.
Yeah.
But
took a while, didn't it? Yeah.
The first act I thought was pretty bad, to be totally honest. Trish had some ideas that were better as ideas than they were as actual spots, which happens, is what it is. But the deeper they got in it, the crowd got into it. And the finishing stretch was actually really exciting. And Trish, to her credit, while I said that about her offense, the bumps that she's taking is quite insane considering where she's at in her career. It's quite extraordinary. That was a highlight of the match, honestly, the way she was bumping around
slammed onto a ladder. You know?
Yeah. And the finish was terrific. The finish was genuinely creative. And, like, let's be honest, there's so many of these matches. Every month we get one of these matches. You can't often say you get finished like you actually remember that finish. Like, thumbs up, you know, it was an actual cute finish. It was a good idea. So, right winner, good match. Took a while to get to people. Definitely was not a lot of heat early. But in the end, I think a definite triumph. Yeah, I think they stuck the landing in a major way.
What did you make of this women's ladder match, Isra?
Oh, I thought it was better than the men's. It was also my favorite women's Money in the Bank, whether like from the match, like the finish and everything. I thought all the spots were like a lot of fun. I love that Becky and Trish, like every 5 seconds, just got into like a brawl. Like they just couldn't get off each other. Like, I don't know, I really like that. And like the handcuff spot where like they pulled out the handcuffs to, you know, put Becky up on the ropes, and then she was like, fuck out of here. And then in the end when Io used that to like win. I don't know. I just thought it was really creative. It was a lot of fun. Like all the spots were great. Like all the women like showed out. Like that's basically it. Good
stuff. Monty, who like in the building, like were people in the Io Sky?
Yeah, definitely, especially at the finish. People definitely popped for it at the finish. You know, I'm sure all you guys heard that as well. But yeah, man, Becky was over, of course. Becky was the most over. Io did get a pop, but Becky was obviously understandably, like, being the biggest star and with it being back in the UK. Like, of course, Becky was, like, super over. So that was a feeling in the building. Zoe Stark got nothing. It was quite brutal. Trish got a pop because, of course, Trish got a pop. Like, it's Trish Stratus. And as Joe said, shout out to her effort in the bumping department, because she was out there, brother. You know, she was out there front line for a ladder match. You know, so God bless. And,
I would say this.
Yeah, man.
I would say this, honestly. I'm watching this match and I'm seeing how much Becky comes off as a star. And one of my big prevailing takeaways was, I kind of hope they blow off the Becky Trish thing on TV, because I think Becky Rhea at SummerSlam would be like big time. You know what I mean? And I think both of them need it. Becky needs like a really big blockbuster match, because she hasn't had that in a while. And I also think Rhea Ripley needs like a genuine challenger that's not like just like, you know, a throwaway. I remember in the Saudi review, I was the guy defending the short Rhea title defenses. 1 month later, I am now on everybody else's side. So, yeah, let's start having some real title defenses, please, because Rhea Ripley's presentation is tremendous. She comes off like a superstar. Same with Becky Lynch.
She's more interested in getting in every man's face and then doing nothing. Like, I love it. Like, I really enjoy her as a worker. Listen, don't you not about to white knight in my face, bro. I think she's an incredible wrestler. My thing, like, it's getting tired. Like, you're getting in all these men's faces just to not even have any wrestling matches with them. And it's like kind of paying your own championship dust, because who are you going to defend it against? Like, and I love Natty, you know, she's real as fuck, legend, but we don't need another one of that. Like, let's move on. And I do think Becky would be a good feud. Like, it's two alpha women, which is just so hot. Like, I feel like this would be a really good feud. Yeah.
I think that should be the SummerSlam.
Oh my God, y'all remember that promo? We're getting off track because it has nothing to do with Money in the Bank. But like that promo when Becky and Rhea, like, they got in each other's face and she said that you're a main event side piece. I'm like, I need more of that.
I think I do remember this. It was on a Raw recently, right? Yeah, I remember it. And again, like I said, that's the big time women's title match we need at SummerSlam. The division needs it. Both of them need it. So I hope that's where we go. Hopefully, and not like some, you know, lesser thing for both talents. But that was the women's Money in the Bank. Io Sky won. Very happy for her. I'm a big fan. And we followed this with Seth freaking Rollins retaining his World Heavyweight Championship against Finn Balor. Going into this match, I'm still a big fan of Finn Balor, right? I think he's a very snug, good worker. I think he's actively better than AJ Styles, and AJ Styles had a very good match at Saudi with Rollins. So I actually thought this was going to be like pretty great. And the match didn't get to reach great, and I think it was because it didn't get a lot of time. I felt like they were wrestling, and they were wrestling very well. And then Priest came out, and that became the focus. And then we went to the finish, and I was just kind of like, damn, like I kind of wanted this to like have a big epic closing stretch, and you know, do all the stuff that these guys do in their bigger matches. And yeah, it just didn't reach that. I thought it was a good match, but like it was like Raw good. And in fact, they had a match on Raw recently that was better than this.
Definitely.
So yeah, I just thought this was like good, and I wanted it to be great, and it was not. But look, they love Seth Rollins. He's a star in WWE, and he retained his title. And Damian Priest teased the cash in, which he didn't do. There's some tension in the Judgment Day, and we'll see what happens there. I'm curious who Rollins' SummerSlam opponent is. It's kind of unclear at this point, but he's still the champion. Isra, what did you think of Rollins versus Finn Balor?
Well, I thought it was a great match. I don't know what the hell you're talking about good. I think they both like did a lot of great things in the match. Like there was like tension, there's heat, and there's like that whole like rivalry, the history between them. I don't know. I thought the rivalry was great. It's so funny to me how like Finn was crying about Seth taking everything from him, like what 7 or 8 years ago, for Seth to do it again. Like I think that's just so beautiful. But besides that, I didn't personally care for it turning into like Judgment Day, like tension. Like it became more about them two than had it been anyone else come out and try to like tease the briefcase, and it's like, oh, like it's Seth versus the world. But now it's kind of looking like it's just like a whole Judgment Day side quest, which I didn't really care for. I do agree with like the length. It should have been much longer because they could have did so much more. These two have such chemistry between them. So no, I thought it was great. I mean, every Seth Rollins match is always going to be the best match on the card. If you actually like pay attention, it's every single card. So from bell to bell, it was the best match in the whole show.
Joey Bing Bong, were you amongst the 18,000 in the crowd that were singing the Seth Rollins theme song?
I got myself a Pepsi.
Okay.
I wandered down around 5 to 6 minutes into the match. I said to Monty, "There's no heat for this." He said, "No." Sort of stared at the ring for a bit. They did a nice sequence. That was pretty good. And then Seth went up. The film went up, missed. They did the Damian Priest spot, to which I said, "Oh my God, they're doing Omega Ibushi," which got a good reaction from Monty. I was pretty happy with that one. He hit the stomp. There was silence around me, and Monty, I believe, yelled, "Is that it?" And they just pinned him, and I was like,
because it didn't have like the epic closing stretch that Seth Rollins pay-per-view matches have. Like he usually he does like the superplex, the Falcon Arrow. The
problem with like Finn Balor's pay-per-view matches is that he's like you know those players that like are great in the regular season, but they're like chokers in the playoffs. That's how Finn Balor is on Monday Night Raw and like Friday SmackDown versus like how he is on pay-per-views. Like he's not him when the bright lights are on him. So that's definitely like him being exposed. But that don't got nothing to do with Seth. So
you know what I'll say, Monty, to that, because we're the Raw watchers. Look, I'll say this, Monty. I do kind of feel like I enjoy Finn Balor on TV more than on pay-per-views. Sometimes he has these singles matches that like peak at like good. Like he had that match with AJ Styles at Survivor Series that was this totally professional, well-worked match, but it wasn't like anything great. And but then I watch him on Raw sometimes, and I'm like, I have a good time, you know. I don't know what
the thing is, like, I do agree that the Raw match is better, and it's unfortunate because it's always like being interrupted by commercials. It's just like I expected that match plus more, but in my opinion, like they are kind of on the same tier. It's just like it could have reached another level, but that's just because Finn Balor is painfully mediocre.
I think the reason it didn't reach the level it did was because of the layout and the time they got. But nevertheless, it was still a good wrestling match. Monty, what did you make of this World Heavyweight Championship deal?
Similar to the Gunther Riddle match, to be honest. It's like you go into it kind of expecting like a 20-minute World Heavyweight title match because that's exactly what, it was, like a World Heavyweight title match between two contenders, And it kind of was just, the wrestled a bit, the work was tight, it was nice, Obviously, the difference in this one is that there was the whole Damian Priest factor. There was a little bit of a pop when he came running down, but no one actually, it never felt like in the arena like anyone thought there was actually going to see a cash-in right there and then. So there was that part of it.
You didn't buy into it at all?
I don't think anyone did, really. Like there was a bit of movement.
To be honest.
Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah.
I'll tell you, like, the lack of heat for this was crazy, like, genuinely. I don't, Monty, tell me if I'm overstating it, because I've missed the first 5 minutes.
Bro, people like Seth, and that was kind of like where it.
Yeah.
That's kind of where it stopped, isn't it?
I love Finn Balor. I think he's a great wrestler. A lot of that audience doesn't see him at that level, and the result was this match was like cold, and you could tell people were just waiting for the main event.
Finn British?
No,
he's Irish. So,
yeah. But isn't that like the same shit like UK?
Well, it's more of like
kinda.
Like didn't Britain like annex Ireland?
You have to get into that, but
go ahead, Joe.
It's more of like a stature thing, Like no one actually bought it. Like I agree with your take on him being better than AJ at this point, but AJ still, or at least had. I know he lost to Karrion Kross. I'm going to say had. There is like a main event like presence to AJ Styles. He's done a lot, Like he's been a top guy. He's been the world champion for a year.
I agree.
Finn is a great worker, but that audience doesn't see him that way. And so you have a match where it's like, I agree with you guys. Like if they go 20 minutes, the match is better. But did the audience actually want this match? I don't know. I don't know if they wanted this match to be longer. It seemed to me like people were waiting for the.
So your point is that they didn't believe in Balor as a serious challenger, and their interest was just in singing the song, liking Seth, and moving on, basically.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. I mean, to the point where I was in the line to get the Pepsis, and the line was empty because Seth's entrance was happening. And then when the bell rung, the line got bigger because people were like, "Well, no, the match is on." You know what I'm saying? Like honestly, that was really what happened. It was very noticeable because
people didn't believe in the title change.
Yeah, they just didn't.
It's unfortunate.
It's just Finn. You know, like it's just Finn.
I'm gonna ask you this question, Isra. Who do you want Seth to take on at SummerSlam? I wouldn't be opposed to a Logan Paul rematch personally.
Well, the problem is I don't care for most of the men on the Raw roster. I want Seth versus Sheamus, but he's on SmackDown, unfortunately. So if we can't move Sheamus to Raw, name some potential contenders because you know everything like off the top of your head.
I don't know. Like that's the tough part. Like Drew McIntyre was the one Monty was looking at, and like he's gonna be with Gunther.
Drew McIntyre is not gonna go for a world title match unless he's winning it. Like he's not gonna want a job. He has like this narcissism that Cody Rhodes has.
Some would call it beastness, you know. But Cody Rhodes himself,
that was disgusting. But
Cody's not gonna face Seth because he's gonna face Brock Lesnar.
Well, Cody has no business facing Seth because he's not going to win. Like I said, person is not going to win. You know, it's kind of what I was trying to say earlier. But
what do you think about? That's what makes this tough. I don't know. At that
point, about like KO or someone?
There's just not that much depth with the men's roster.
I don't know why I made this belt.
Because she's always in his face. You might as well.
Nah.
Maybe
I wouldn't even do KO, to be honest. It was just a name I saw pop up on my screen, you know?
I feel like they're going to do some like Judgment Day triple threat or something, you know? Like, I'm not trying to watch that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to.
I kind of want to move on from Judgment Day after this. The problem is like Judgment Day when they're beefing with somebody, that shit never ends. And when Seth is feuding with somebody, that shit also never ends. So I feel like this is not going to end for like a while. So
they're a viable TV act, but yeah, I totally get what you're saying.
And to be honest, like Seth versus Dominik, it might move me more than Seth versus Finn, but actually, it definitely would move me more than Seth versus Finn. Now that I think about it,
maybe
I don't know what point I was trying to make. Hold on, but still, like it's just Dom. Like it's just Dom.
There's people throwing NXT names in the chat. I don't know.
There's not much depth with the men's roster on Raw, and that's just what it is. Unless they like purposely trying to fuck over Seth, like how they always do, by like not giving him like an actual like good set of opponents.
I wouldn't mind Edge. I wouldn't mind, even though he's on SmackDown technically. I wouldn't.
That's what I'm saying. Like all the good names that you think of, they're gonna be on SmackDown. Like AJ Styles was from SmackDown.
Oh!
I want to see Sheamus at SmackDown.
What about Randy Orton?
Can that man move?
I don't know. Who knows?
I would love. Listen, Seth Rollins versus Randy Orton. Both of the times that they wrestled, it just did it for me. So I would love Seth Randy 3, but is Randy ready for Seth Randy 3?
I don't know.
I can't say he is.
Monty, I'd imagine that would actually kind of move you a little bit if Randy pulled up an RKO'd Seth tomorrow.
No, bro, I'd watch Randy Orton RKO anyone, mate. I can go, you know?
Sure. Hopefully it's not, you know, we'll see what happens. But the match that brought these guys in the building, the match that got these guys in their seats, the match that popped the quarter hour, the match that was marketed as the Bloodline Civil War.
You said they popped what?
Quarter hours in the ratings.
What is that?
It's when like a quarter hour of the rating, like a section of time, an allotted period of time on the show, the rating spikes like notably. Like popping a quarter is like a guy shows up on Raw at like the last 15 minutes and the rating jumps up by hundreds of thousands of viewers.
This is a pay-per-view. Why is that? You know what? Y'all know that meme of like that girl just like minding her any girl minding her business and it's a motherfucker explaining some shit to her. Like that's what Ebu does to me, I swear.
I'm just setting up the main event here. The quarter hour poppers of the Bloodline, you know what I mean?
Okay. We can get into this later. Continue.
So the Bloodline comes out. It's the Civil War. It's the Usos versus Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. And Jimmy Uso turned on Roman Reigns at the last pay-per-view. And it set up this whole situation here. And Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso main eventing a pay-per-view, the second one this year. Monty was ready for this. This was the only match he cared about on Money in the Bank. This was super duper heated. The crowd was super into it. There was a ton of derogatory anti-Roman Reigns chants. And yeah, man, this was a
Can I be honest? I never understood, like, throughout the whole show. I didn't understand any of the chants. Like, I don't understand British at all.
I didn't either.
The only one.
Yeah.
I didn't know what the hell they were saying.
Well, Monty, I had no clue.
Do you want to tell me? Because I don't speak y'all language. So what were y'all saying?
We'll definitely get into it because I had no clue what any of these chants were. But this was really heated. This was a 30-minute Bloodline epic. This was a match that definitely took its time to get to where it wanted to get to. Roman Reigns very much labored and kind of set the table and posed and stared and gestured and all that type of thing. We had a lot of facial expressions and things like that. We had long heat segments and two nerve holds onto Jimmy Uso. Solo put a nerve hold on Jimmy twice. On the second application of it, I was laughing out loud. We set up a Jay hot tag after about 4 minutes, and then he was pulled off the apron, and I was like, oh boy. And then we got a second nerve hold. But Jay gets the hot tag. He starts to cook a little bit. They started to get back and forth at some point. This is the first match the Usos were babyface in years, and we got some good stuff. Roman consulted Heyman on the outside a couple times, and yeah, man, it got really explosive in the final stretch. We got a ref bump, and following the ref bump, the Usos hit Roman Reigns with a 1D. Roman Reigns was down for the count, got a visual pinfall, but he wasn't out because the ref was out of the ring. And yeah, man, Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa hit, I believe, Jey Uso with a Samoan spike spear combination. And I thought this was the finish. I was like, oh my God, they did the fucking bullshit. And I did catch this chant. You guys were chanting bullshit at this moment because it appeared it was like Roman Reigns is just done in Jey Uso. And he kicked out. And, the crowd got really hyped for it and stuff like that. They hit the Usos with double Uranagis. There were a couple cool stuff. Solo Sikoa went for a splash on the outside that he missed, and he just went right through the announce table. A lot of big set pieces in the closing stretch, and ultimately, Roman Reigns got hit with a bunch of super kicks from the Usos, and he caught a Uso splash by Jey Uso, and Jey Uso pinned Roman Reigns. This is the first time Roman Reigns has been pinned since December of 2019 at TLC 2019.
It's not the first time he lost, but it's the first time he got pinned. Continue.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The first pinfall loss he's experienced since TLC 2019. And so the crowd is going nuts for this. They were singing along to Down Since, and Michael Cole was talking about it like it was a miracle, like something from heaven happened. Monty, how are you feeling?
I got to see the real dance, It delivered, brother. It delivered. The atmosphere was incredible from the moment. Obviously, the Usos came out. People are singing around. See, people are singing along to the theme song. I'm not sure if that's happened very often in the past. Obviously, Roman coming out. It's just Roman. Like he just has top guy, just mega superstar presence. And that kind of set the tone. Like Roman's presence just kind of sets the tone, especially in like an arena like that where the sound travels so well. And he's just like Joe mentioned it earlier on, and he will definitely do a better job of articulating like being there for this match than I will, because it's his wheelhouse. But like Roman just kind of like leading the dance from the apron when he got into the ring to kind of do his little bits and bobs. It was always good. Solo being kind of like the kind of being the leader of like the heat segments. You mentioned the nerve hold and stuff. Like we was there popping along for it. It was a good time being there for it, especially like I can understand some people kind of being finding the first act, second act, however far in it took you until you got really excited. I can understand some people finding the start a bit mundane, but being there for it, and the way like everyone was just kind of coming up with chants for Roman. People were like fully into like the littlest of things within the match. Like I don't know, like Roman would do, like Roman or Solo would do like a fucking shoulder tackle or something, and the crowd would move for it. Then like Roman would turn from the apron, and he'll do some gestures to the crowd, and it would start like a chant, and Yeah, there was there was the traveling chant around the arena as well. Like someone started over on the far side. I pointed it out to Joe. I was like, someone's trying to start a chant over there, and he had his shoe in his hand. And what he was doing, he was like, "Shoes off if you hate Roman." Then in our part of
Oh my god!
Then there was a bunch of people up in one of the higher tiers doing that, and then it spread around for the majority of the arena to stand up if you hate Roman. So everyone started standing up. And yeah, like there was like three or four different versions of like the same chant going on all at the same time because people in other parts of the arena were hearing it differently and just kind of going with it. But yeah, the atmosphere was incredible. Like even at the start, it kind of carried it through. You know, the crowd investment was incredible. I thought Solo done his part really well. I loved all the stuff with like Roman and Solo, kind of like that tension building. Solo having his doubts with Roman, like with the big kick out when after the spikes and the double spear spike thing when he tried to do the stack pin from Mania. You know, like when Roman's like having a mental breakdown and that Solo, like the camera did catch it and they do even pay a little attention to it, like on the broadcast. But Solo's like staring at him like for a good minute, like what's wrong with this dude, bro? Like he needs to fix up. And he even says like he's the one who gets Roman to fix up and gets him back in the zone, sort of thing.
Oh, what you talking about when Roman was all sitting there like, what am I doing?
Yeah,
like literally crying.
Solo. Yeah, you could see the planting the seeds of all of Solo's doubt in Roman. You know, they were doing all that. I thought they'd done that very well. Even just like the obvious spot before the finish where Solo kind of looks at Roman like, should I do this splash through the table? And Roman's like, do it, destroy him, get him done, and he fails, and of course it backfires. But yeah, man, like even the callbacks, like the law callbacks, you know, one I just mentioned about the Mania stack pin. There was the low blow spot from like fucking 2 years ago or something now, you know. It was just
these pieces of shit, man. It's fucking this bloodline.
It was fucking real graps, man. They went out there, they felt the crowd. The crowd give them what they needed for it because it's just what Roman and the bloodline demands these days. And you know, it kind of just went the way that the crowd kind of dictated it to, with a lot of cool stuff going on at the end, you know. And of course, I can get watching it on the broadcast. It was going to be one of those things. It didn't get good until 15 minutes in. It was nothing until then. But I don't know, being there completely, I'm not with that, you know. But obviously, it's a different experience, and of course, like being there in an arena like that, only 15,000 or so people, really fired up fans, you know.
Yeah,
there was a lot of alcohol being served, you know. It was. And yeah, just like obviously the big moment everyone's going to talk about, Jey Uso beating Roman Reigns, you know, a win for the good guys. And it was almost like a party after, bro, like genuinely.
It was amazing, yeah.
So like you guys did definitely see quite a bit of it, like them just kind of in the ring, you know, celebrating with the fans, etc., etc., etc. And then it kind of calmed down a little bit, and they were getting ready to like get out the ring. Jimmy gets out the ring one side, Jey gets out the ring the other side. And as Jay is about to start walking, Roman's like trying to sell, but Roman tells Jay, like, get back in the ring and like, you know, have your moment and get back in the ring and continue. And
that happened?
Really?
Yeah, bro.
They were singing that song. They were going to sing that song until it stopped playing, and they did. It was quite incredible.
Roman told Jay to come back in.
Yeah, but Roman's by the steps with Heyman. Yeah. He's selling, like he's trying to do it low key, but I'm watching him. You know what I mean?
You're saying like he's like kind of out of kayfabe going like
just kind of
he's like get in the ring. Get back in the ring.
Oh yeah, like, get that right.
Have your moment, you know.
It was really cool. It was really cool.
That's really cool.
It was good shit, man. It was good shit. It was, yeah, everything we wanted it to be, you know.
I was just really happy for you guys. I'm watching this whole match and I'm like, this is what they paid for. Like like I'm just watching this. I'm like, this is why this is the match that they cared about. I'll say this, man, and I'll say this to address like, you know, like some of like our circles or live chat and people like that, like, you know, the bloodline is very understandably kind of polarizing in terms of their approach to wrestling, because it's very much a specific way of doing it, and it's a super minimalist and also at the same time maximalist thing, because they do these big, broad, grand matches, right, where there's a ton of set pieces, there's a lot of faces, there's a lot of that stuff. They try to be epic, but at the same time, the early stretches, there's not a lot of like wrestling, and I can see some people just not really being into that. What I'll say about it is, for my personal taste, I don't mind the pace and like the gradual slow burn. I actually don't mind that at all. That's like proper tag wrestling in my opinion. But for my taste, obviously, I still would like a little more nuance in some of these control sections a little bit. But ultimately, I watch this stuff, right, and I'm like, this is what it's trying to be. It's trying to be Marvel. You know what I mean? It's trying to be this like almost box office Disney movie type of thing in WWE. It feels like the most perfectly tailored thing for WWE. Definitely a spectacle. It was a match that as expected, it was a slow burn bloodline epic that by the time we got to the ending stretch, it was pretty exciting and explosive. And the only finish that we could have gotten is the one that we got. Like, to me, it was like this would be rendered pointless if Jey Uso didn't pin Roman Reigns. That's the only finish that should have happened here, and it did. And like Monty said, it was a total party in there when he did it. I thought this match was very good overall. Look, I'm watching it. I'm like, look, man, these guys are big stars, and Roman Reigns is at a point where he doesn't even have to do more than he does. Like, he just really doesn't. You guys were eating out of the palm of his hands. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't matter what he did. He was just, the crowd is fucking going crazy and nuts for him. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
I think that's the appeal
of
like the bloodline matches, is how it's literally storyline driven. So in the beginning, when they're doing like all this like non-wrestling, like leading up type of shit that they always do, it makes sense to me because like everyone is invested in the story. So yeah, you're gonna like expect like to watch a fucking wrestling match. They're gonna wrestle. But I think what they're doing is just like advancing the story even more. Like that's why their matches are always so exciting. Because like, let's say you trim the match down to like just the moves and like none of the theatrics, it's not gonna feel the same. So I don't know. I don't mind. Like I don't know who's criticizing like all that stuff because it's literally like part of the brand. At first it kind of like annoyed me because like it was always the same shit, but it makes sense now because Roman always needs like a ref bump and he always needs the Usos and Solo to run out so that he could win. So like without that being his crutch and like the Usos not being there to save his ass, and like basically he has to fend for himself because no one else can really get involved. It really shows that like they were the backbone of his whole reign.
Yeah, for sure.
As like champion and like him being the leader and the head of the table, so and all this other shit. Basically like showing that like he's kind of like not nothing, but it's not the same without Jey. So it kind of exposed that.
Did you like the main event, Istra? I thought it validated the whole show and like put a nice bow on everything.
Yeah, I agree. I think so. It was a lot of fun seeing the Usos be babyface again. Like when they came out and they were like high energy and they were dancing and bouncing around, I was like so not used to that. And like I didn't never realize how much I missed it because I always loved like face Usos. I mean, I love heel Usos too because like they're my favorite tag team in WWE, probably like ever. So it's kind of like one of those things that like you take it for granted because you enjoy the bloodline storyline so much that like now that they're back on their own, it's like it's really fun seeing them like be on their own again.
Yeah, I tend to agree. The Usos have an infectious energy and they're just very likable. Even for a lot of this bloodline stuff, I felt like the fans only like gave them boos because it's like they're backing up Roman. But at the end of the day, it's like people like Jimmy and Jey. You know what I'm saying? Like throughout Mania's season, like they like Jey Uso. They wanted him to be, come to the good side, so to speak. So
I like that touch where he was basically when he was in Jimmy's face in the promo a couple weeks ago, and he was saying like, I'm always like having to like be second to you, which like in the perspective of the fans, like I think most people would say that like Jey Uso's the better twin all around. But like the fact that he kind of made it personal and said like, you're older, I always like been second to you type of shit. And then in this match, he was the one that ended up getting the pin. It also like validated him. So I really like that they made it so that Jey was the one that pinned Roman and not like some kind of a fluke win or like Solo getting pinned. Because I wouldn't have felt the same.
For sure. Joe, what did you make of this main event? This bloodline war tag?
Well, I loved it, but I'm absolutely willing to to discuss its issues and discuss where it falls apart on like a rewatch. I get it. I totally concede
no,
it.
No. Stop. Fuck all that, Joe. Just
listen. Bro, we've been talking about this match for 15
He
minutes.
wants to be as objective as possible.
Seriously, like, I haven't said shit about it. Let me go. So, genuinely, anyone who's saying the first act and a half, the first half of this match is not interesting, I think it's totally fair to say that, and I'd actually say it's on point. I have no beef for that take at all. It's crowd work. Me being a true sicko of the game, I've got an appreciation for the balls that Roman Reigns displays when he wrestles this way. Like, to have a crowd like this and wrestle like this, you have to have such faith in your ability to keep them with you. And there's like a part of me that appreciates it because it's such an outlier in the current wrestling world. Like, he's the only guy who can wrestle this way because he's the only guy who's been booked like this and looks like that and is that character. And you can credit who you want on that. Like, I think he's a lot better. I think he's a big part of it. But he's the only guy who could wrestle this way successfully without killing the crowd. Like, you hear the old cats talk about, slow down, all that shit. It's like, most guys, that would not work out.
It wouldn't get over.
Roman Reigns does that, and I can tell you, people say what they want. I was in the building. They were with that match the whole way. And the easiest way you can tell is whenever they would tease the hot tag, the people would come up ready for the hot tag. Every single time. And Monty and I were talking about it, because I was watching it, the heat, and I was thinking, they're pushing this to its limit. Like, they were squeezing every bit of heat out of that. And I was thinking, I don't know if they've still...
on top of the heat section.
Yeah, I was thinking, I don't know if they've still got them. And they did, because whenever they teased the hot tag, they would come up and they would back down again. And, the decision to do a double heat was, again, the balls. I will say the way they did that was terrific. In, the Jimmy knockout cell, like, borderline worked. Me, Monty can attest. He walked into that forearm, and it genuinely it flattened him. It looked great, so that was nice. But yeah, I totally get it. I completely understand the whole thing about it. Now, what I would say is, while the bloodline angle is stagey and theatrical, and it won't be for everyone, there is clearly a magic to this angle and something special about this angle that has resonated with people in a way that very few angles have resonated with people on a major stage in years. There's a lot of great wrestling, and there's a lot of fans rooting for their favorite and so on and so forth, and that's fine. But this was a genuine, live crowd chasing a happy ending. Everyone in there wanted one particular result. They cared about who won. And there is something special about that that's novel, because increasingly we attend these shows looking for a great match. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's the norm, right? That's fine. It's great even. But that wasn't the vibe yesterday, right, Monty? This was, people didn't care. They just wanted the Usos to make the tag so they can make a comeback and win. And the fact that it still exists is kind of romantic to me. That's pretty awesome. That's really special. That's still a thing we have in the industry.
That's a great point.
I thought the finish was electric, and now that I've got that out of the way, because I know last we had a lot of controversy about Mega Ospreay, so I want to make it clear, I'm not going to frame this as some generational masterpiece. I didn't even think it was, as an actual match, I didn't even think it was better than the KO and Sammy one from a month ago. And with that all put aside, the live experience of this is one of the best wrestling experiences I've ever had, and I'm so thankful to have been there for it, because of the atmosphere I just mentioned, because of that chase for a happy ending, and the kind of just general party atmosphere we got afterwards, as Monty mentioned. Man, I was living and dying with those momentum swings, wasn't I, Monty? I was up and down.
There was the Jimmy Guillotine spot. There was the Jimmy Guillotine spot. There was the spot with obviously the spot that everyone popped for. But Joe was leaving this match, brother. Like you said earlier, watching it like a cup final, bro. We fucked it. No,
honestly, it was really cool to do that. I haven't done it in a long time, genuinely.
What are you gonna say, Ezra?
Joe talking about how this whole thing played out was very romantic. That moved me. That touched me. I love this. It really did. I'm I never thought about it that way. And I romanticize a lot of things, but I never thought to see this whole thing the way you did. That was beautiful.
To me, in a weird way, because I know people do the whole thing of this isn't wrestling. This is cinema. This is this. This is that. I'm saying
fuck what the marks gotta say. Let me tell you, this whole bloodline storyline and every single match, including the one from yesterday, it appeals to so many different types of people. First of all, straight men love this shit. Women who don't give a fuck about wrestling love this shit. Me, who I never cared about Roman personally, like for the majority of his career, like outside of the Shield, I eat this shit up too. Like it's just, it really is just cinema. Like it's one of the best storylines like we've ever seen, and we're like experiencing it in real time. So I think like just fucking enjoy it, like take it in, because like we're probably not gonna get something like this for a very long time, and like we're like witnessing this in real time. So
Monty definitely feels the same way. I guess what I was getting at is like at its core, no matter how they get to making people feel this way, at the end of the day, it's something that for its audience, it's making people feel really strongly. And it really is. The core of pro wrestling is making you care about the people involved beating other people involved. You know, like, again, wrestling can be so many different things, right? But like Joe mentioned, you know, oftentimes you get a certain matchup and like they're saying this is awesome before the match starts, out of like the elation of seeing two guys you like just wrestle each other, and that can exist, that can be a thing, but there is a magic, there is a specialness, there is just a romantic quality to just being wrapped up in everything that's happening for the entire duration of the match, and then just experiencing like a communal joy in seeing somebody overcome someone else that like had like a lot of people haven't.
Yeah, and you know, to your point, it's like that is, you know, as you said, that's for all the jokes about what you know, is it actually wrestling? It's like that's the most wrestling thing ever. You know,
that is professional wrestling right there.
Yeah,
you know, which is the funniest thing about this. So I wouldn't call the Bloodline story cinema. I wouldn't call it. I would,
in my opinion, once they wrap this whole thing up and like, you know, finish, I think you could literally like compile every single Bloodline segment and match, and like it would literally like be something you would want to binge in one sitting.
I would say
it's a masterpiece. It's a wrestling masterpiece.
There are multiple classic angles in this storyline, and people can get mad at that, folks. It's true. Monty and I were talking about like the individual segments. There are like classic segments that will be replayed for years in this deal. Like, again, you don't have to be. It doesn't have to be your flavor.
There's not free. At some point,
like some point pushing back, it's like, look, like the way they portray it is not necessarily for everyone. That's fine. That's wrestling. That's life, you know. But like, fuck, there's some incredible wrestling angles in this thing.
So I was gonna say specifically the Sammy stuff is like genuinely like excellent wrestling television. Yeah. Like when it comes to just television, I legitimately would argue that like it's up there with like a lot of great stuff, and it's among the best. Like the Trial of Sami Zayn segment is genuinely one of the best Raw segments of all time, in my personal opinion. What I was gonna say is that you can argue about it being cinema, is it a B movie, is it wrestling, is it this and that. At its core, what it does to its audience and how it engages people and makes them care to the degree that it's doing it, that is quite literally more pro wrestling than a lot of things that are labeled as pro wrestling. So that's kind of where I stand on that.
This is something that I really think is understated in the big conversation about it. The reason it resonates with people beyond how well produced it is and all of that stuff, there is an authenticity to some of the fellas involved in this that is really special. And you see it on nights like last night when you see the actual, it's one thing to like wrestlers, but that crowd last night had like an adoration for the Usos, right? Like they were actually desperate for them to win. And a lot of that is rooted in the fact that, as you said, you know, 25 minutes ago we started talking about this, people actually like them. Like they really believe those characters. No one believes it's real. That's not what this has ever been about. But they believe they are real. Even though they know they're doing the phoniest stuff, they're acting, they're doing, you know, they're Emmy nominated, all that whole shit, all that conversation. Fuck all that.
Are they Emmy nominated?
No, absolutely not. I'm just messing up.
They should be.
But like, the point I'm making is like, for all of that and for how glossy it is and how theatrical it is, people believe in those people, and that's special because that's rare and it's really fun to experience. It was a very, very nice experience.
Absolutely. Well said, Joe. Well said. I'm happy for you guys again. Let's get into some super chats before we kind of put a bow on this thing.
Okay, we've got how many have we got?
Oh shit.
About 4 or 5. Bob the Builder, $2 Canadian. Do you think the term cinema is cringe?
I think a lot of shit with wrestling is cringe, but it's wrestling, bro. You watch wrestling. I don't think it's like
It's like, where do you draw the line? You know.
I'll say this. Sometimes I see people say like certain parts of the bloodline aspect is like tacky and stuff. And while I won't like just argue or disagree, I would say that like there's a lot of things that like people think are cool that like I would also argue is like kind of cheesy and or tacky.
100%.
A lot of wrestling is just kind of cheesy and tacky.
I think what you're saying is, if you're like aggressively dismissing this angle, just consider some of the shit you like. That's what I'm saying. You know, I mean, you gotta be
the
fair.
thing is, I consider it cinema. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. I'm like, no, I would consider it cinema because I legitimately think the story can like be adapted into a movie, whether it be from Roman's perspective or having Jay as the main character or Sammy as the main character. I literally think this could be a movie.
What were you gonna say, Joe? About to be fair?
I just was saying, like, it's easy to be like, oh, the bloodline shit's lame, but like, let me show you this righteous angle. You know, it's like, chill. You know, like, I'm just saying. I mean, just if we're being honest, like, to your point, a lot of shit in wrestling is like a lot of stuff in wrestling. If someone walks past when I'm watching it, it's like, God damn it, get his shit off.
I agree.
And I'm not saying the bloodline's immune to that. I'm just saying a lot of it fits that bill. So I think people should like be less like uppity about it. Like
most, yeah, for sure.
I think in terms of shit being cringe, like I don't cringe at anything ever. Like I'm literally a Seth fan, and like I literally will like send my friends, like not my friends, but like if my friends are like around or whatever, and we're like watching wrestling, like they'll be like, "That's your guy," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's my guy." It's like it's not embarrassing, like it's just how it is. Like, like yeah, he dresses like that, and he like does other shit.
And Joe, what tends to happen is what separates like something that's cheesy to like not cheesy in most fans' eyes. It's literally genuinely just investment and preference in how they do wrestling. You know what I mean?
And the thing is, you know, we've talked about this throughout the months. Some of the bloodline stuff is way too stagey for me.
Absolutely.
Like when they would do angles where like Kevin would talk to Sammy and Jay had like his head behind the door listening, like that's lame to me. Like
he's like lurking.
We all have different lines, you know what I'm saying? Like that for me was like that's too much. I can't. That's lame. I can still acknowledge that as an overall effort, it's impressive.
I want to also say, to be honest with you, I think the staginess of it kind of pops me. Like it's really funny. Like the way Paul Heyman embraces being a cartoon character, and he'll be like, "Do you want your family to rule their family? Your kids are gonna lead his kids. You are the tribal chief." And I'm like, this guy's a fucking lunatic. Bro. He's preposterous, bro. And or like even Roman, because he'll be like this almost like cartoon Don. He'll be in a backstage segment like, "Do you want to be in the family?"
We can't see you, bro.
He'll be like, "Do you want to be in the family? Then show why you got to be in our family tonight." And like they'll walk away and he'll dismiss them, and I'm like, Jesus Christ. Good stuff. Thanks, Bob the Builder, for the super chat. Average foodie, 40 rupees. Is that what that is?
Maybe.
Yes, Istra's back, and I love you. You are beautiful.
Thank you. I love you too.
That's nice. Another one, 40 rupees. Hey, Istra, I'm a Punk fan. Does that make me a bad guy?
No, I think you can make better life decisions. But it don't make you a bad person. It just makes you a victim.
Oh my God. SoCar Cam, $2. World title match was pretty bad, not gonna lie. SoCar Cam, $2. Money in the Bank was pretty bad, not gonna lie. that it wasn't funny until the second one made it kind of funny. Like the back-to-back was kind of funny. It was like good stuff, man. Good stuff. So, Monty, how would you overall rate your experience at Money in the Bank in London?
10 out of 10.
Good stuff. How about you, Joe?
Yeah, it was a blast. I don't think the show was great.
Mm-hmm.
I never expected it to be great.
I
decided I got desperate to see one particular match. We moved heaven and earth to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a hell of a time enjoying the match. It was a great experience. I was very glad I made the decision. I was relieved that I didn't let frankly better judgment stop me from making the decision. So It was a hell of a time.
You lived and died on the main event, and the main event gave you guys what you wanted from the show. What would you say, Isra?
What? Oh,
Money in the Bank.
I thought it was like great from beginning to end, minus Cody versus Dom and Matt Riddle versus Gunther. But like Money in the Bank matches were great. Seth was the greatest. main event was like 10 out of 10. So I thought it was a pretty solid show.
Yeah, man, good stuff. I want to thank everybody in the live chat. You know, we had a nice little house here. We were obviously hurt and limited by Twitter's limited visibility today. You know, Elon Musk kind of cucking us a bit, but we still had a nice little audience here, and you guys sent a lot of super chats and were very cooperative. And you know, you guys were just very active, so I appreciate that as always.
Stop with the chat GPT shit. We love you guys and we appreciate you so much.
Absolutely.
We are gonna continue doing the Sunday show. So even if like you're not on Twitter, like the shit is not working, just subscribe, turn on the post notifications, and on Sunday, like around this time, like we're gonna be on regardless. So
absolutely. Tomorrow we're gonna be here with Manny for Wrestle Purist Worldwide, and we'll talk some Collision in the wrestling news. A lot to say about Collision on my end for sure. And so we're excited to get into that. Dumb Guy Live on Tuesdays and the rest of the Wrestle Purist week. We are starting a Twitch account, Monty. You want to just kind of quickly mention that before we kind of get out of here?
Yeah, man. So obviously, if you're following our account at Wrestle Purist, you've probably seen us tweet. If you haven't by now, then yeah, we're starting to get on the Twitch streaming side of the business. So the Twitch account is there. Of course, it's at Wrestle Purist. The link is on our Twitter. It's in the pinned tweet as well, so it'll be pretty easy to find. So please do follow us, because that's all we can do at the minute. Follow us on Twitch. We're going to be working towards becoming an affiliate. Then you can subscribe to us, etc., etc. But on the Twitch, we're going to be doing at the minute, we're probably thinking watch-alongs. I think we're going to be doing an AEW Dynamite watch-along this week.
Oh, let's go. That's going to be great.
And we're going to get Manny on the games. You know, we're going to get Manny on Fight Forever. Yeah, watch-alongs and all that kind of stuff.
I'm getting Fight Forever too. So
yeah,
really,
is there on Fight Forever? That'll definitely be interesting. You know, but yeah, all that kind of stuff, man. The sort of stuff that you'd normally see on Twitch, but kind of like what we obviously wrestling based. You know, I'm going to try to keep away from doing like full on like reviews like we do on the YouTube channel, so it's something different.
Mm-hmm.
It'll probably be more kind of like fun content, you know.
Right. The way his British ass said fun.
But yeah, man, follow that Twitch. Go over to our Twitter, hit the link in the pinned tweet, and yeah, get those followers up for us. So we've got at least a nice little audience to start with.
Absolutely, Monty. We got one last super chat here.
We do. We do. Just give me one moment. And Average Fooder.
Again, he says 40 rupees, I believe. He says, this is for Ibu. How about Punk versus Joe, MJF, and Stark? Yeah, man, I think Punk has set up a Punk verse on Collision that there's a lot of open threads right now that I think are going to start to really connect in an interesting way. Very interested in Joe. I think that the way that they have microwaved that matchup in like 5 minutes is kind of remarkable in the closing angle of Collision, because that thing feels so big time. Joe sent Roddy to the hospital. Genuinely a striking angle. I love that, and I'm really excited for that match. MJF is the one that's going to be a long-term, broader thing, and I'm into that for sure. Ricky Stark, we'll see what happens there. We'll see what happens, but good stuff for sure. And us Colliders will be getting into that more in detail tomorrow on Worldwide. But yeah, man, you guys have been great. For Monty, for Joe, for Isra, we thank all of you guys, and we'll see you next time.